So this was the scam of the scams.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, June 11, 2015. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 729er.
This is No Agenda.
Keeping tabs on Smith and Munt and broadcasting live from FEMA Region 6 here in the capital of the Drone Star State in the Crackpot Condo in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm keeping tabs on the weather for historical sakes, it's foggy. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning. That's June gloom there.
It rained the other day. This is not a normal June. It's global warming.
Hey? Well, you know how we're going to fix the global warming, don't you?
No.
The president told us so himself.
If we want to solve something like climate change, which was one of my highest priorities.
Highest priorities.
Highest priority.
What happened to protecting the American people? I thought that was the highest priority.
That's what he's saying.
Then I've got to be able to get into places like Malaysia and say to them,
Hey, dudes.
This is in your interest. What leverage do I have to get them to stop deforestation? Well, part of the leverage is if I'm in a trade relationship with them that allows me to raise standards, now they have to start thinking about how quick they're chopping down their forests and
check it out.
what kinds of standards they need to apply to the environmental conservation.
Yeah, so this is for the...
Now that's I had to tell you this. I'm not going to give it to you, but that is clip of the day.
But you're not giving it to me?
No, it's because it's too early in the show. You can't take clip of the day right off the top.
That is the president explaining why we need the TPP.
Why he's fast track.
Yeah, exactly.
Fast track because of global warming.
But what I like is he says, I can't tell them what to do. It's kind of jumping the shark, you know.
Can't tell them what to do.
Yeah, I can't set standards for everybody, for the world to listen to America. So I need this. Of course, we all know the true solution is nuclear energy, and I had a meeting on Monday here in Austin.
I forgot to put it forward to this today. I want to just mention, though, I'm going to reiterate a clip that we didn't play. One of the government guys goes on and on and on about what we have to drop oil altogether. And first he makes the mistake of saying nuclear power. And then the second time around, he drops nuclear power and he talks about wind, water, and there's a third one.
Farts.
Sun. And they said, we got to go to all renewables. And every time anyone says to me, we should go to all renewables for our energy needs, I'm always thinking, well, so I should start burning wood. Right?
Is that renewable?
Come on.
Yeah, it grows.
It's renewable.
Yeah.
You chop down a tree, you burn it, you grow another tree, you chop it down, you burn it.
But that does result in other things that aren't great.
Renewable. They're not saying that. They're not saying clean.
Okay. I hear you.
Yeah, go on.
Well, I had a meeting with Sir Atomic Hot Rod Adams here in Austin.
Yeah. Yes, it's a very well-known meeting.
Yeah.
Everyone was a buzz.
Yeah, we had breakfast at Joe's Coffee on 2nd. And so Rod, of course, has been he was a commander on a nuclear submarine. Retired now, but career naval guy. He's taught. He's been in private practice, and now he's pretty much doing his blog, Atomic Insights, and he has a number of different podcasts that he does. And he drove from Virginia, where he lives, to San Antone for the annual American Nuclear Society meeting, which he was very depressing. Yeah. Well, of course, there's no money really anymore for nuclear.
Why? It's only, although everybody judges it based on 1950s technology, it's the only solution to global warming.
It's completely carbon free. The new breeder reactors produce no waste.
The sun doesn't have to come out.
I'm sorry, they
doesn't have to blow.
I'm sorry, they do produce waste, but they eat their own poop, so it's fantastic. But he said last year there were about 1,500 attendees at the ANS. This year, about 400 or 500.
Yeah, well, once the Chinese get their act together and start building these things left and right, we'll get a clue.
And I wanted to point quickly, he has a great article about Stanford, how their climate scientists there promote 100% renewable the renewable revolution, and these guys are all paid by fossil fuel money, but they, of course, do not promote the true renewable. And Stanford will not take anyone who is interested in becoming a professor in nuclear. Only nuclear waste.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He sent a letter. There's a whole letter that he sent, and he got a letter back from the dean. Yeah. A couple things I learned from.
By the way, nuclear is not renewable in any way.
Yeah, well, that's not true. The breeder reactors are the definition that you put. You don't have to.
That's just recycling. That's not renewable.
Okay.
Renewable means when you remove it, just you can get it back. Okay. When you pull uranium out of the ground, it doesn't grow back like oil.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Agreed. But I got some updates and some info on stuff that we're interested in. So, for instance, backyard nukes, and how the progress is going.
How is it going?
Well, not too great.
Oh, the technology's there, ready to be harvested.
Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. So there's only one, and of course I'm not a nuclear physicist or scientist, but I'm just paraphrasing what I jotted down. So the kind of reactors we're looking at backyard nukes, but really we're talking about a nuclear plant that could be pretty much in the backyard. The whole thing wouldn't be much larger than a couple of you and I if you stuffed this in a box, and that could power 100,000 homes. And this would be one of those breeder reactors. And the problem is that there's a reactor that can already do this. It's the Russian ROS-60, and we do have a fast reactor here in the United States, but we can't do anything with it because the only place you can get the fuel for this is from Russia. And guess what? As a part of the sanctions imposed over the Ukrainian conflict, the Department of Energy is verboten from doing any business or getting anything from Russia. So it's effectively a standstill forever.
Well, until they give Snowden back.
Yeah, there's that. And then I came up with an idea. I said, can't we take decommissioned subs and, just change the turbine, because instead of propelling the propeller, put a different turbine on. He said, yeah, you could probably.
Why would you have to put a different one? Doesn't that produce electricity to power the boat?
No, the reactor produces steam, and then you need a different turbine to generate the type of electricity that could come out of this. In the boat, they have a very slow move. It's only 300 or 400 RPMs that the submarine propeller turns at. So you just need a different turbine. You could submerge it offshore. It would have everything it needs: water for cooling, just everything. And you could probably power 250,000 homes with a decommissioned submarine. Guess what?
What?
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
It's not going to happen. Anyway, I encourage.
Of course not. Why do all these people that are all the question that always has to be asked when you run into a environmentalist who is all in on global warming are the two questions. One, why not nuke?
Right.
Which they'll always, they cite a bunch of crazy stuff.
That's exactly how they sound too.
They can't deal with that. And then the other one is why cap and trade, which is the other one that's so obvious. It's such a scam. If you're really that concerned, and you claim to be, just cap.
Yep. Anyway, it was good seeing Rod, and he drives a Jetta diesel. That's what the nuke guys drive.
Jetta diesel.
Isn't that great?
Those little diesels are pretty quick, those European diesels.
And he gets 43 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, the problem is that because when they came up with this low sulfur, it's almost as though it was something screwy about it. They came with this low sulfur standard for diesel fuel, which is fine in itself. But then all of a sudden, diesel fuel costs more than premium gas.
Right. Yeah. It's all the taxes that are put on.
Shouldn't be any more taxes. Just not the taxes. The gas is overpriced.
Well, you're in a fine mood today, aren't you?
Well, you keep coming up with these bromides.
I think you have this clip as well, but since I have it lined up already, I'll play this as a part of our Agenda 21 opening today.
As we previewed Friday, the EPA has announced its intention to regulate aircraft emissions like it does cars, trucks, and power plants. Environmentalists say American airplanes are responsible for about 3% of all U.S. greenhouse gas emissions. Conservatives say strict emissions regulations would force airlines to raise ticket prices or add more seats to already cramped planes. This is the first step in a lengthy regulatory process.
There you go. This is going to suck.
3% my butt. I'd like to see that proven.
Well, you know it's going to turn out differently.
Yeah, this is like so what they're saying is that a plane full of people going from, let's say, 250 people going from San Francisco to New York creates more emissions. This is what they're implying. They're not saying this, but they're implying this. Mm-hmm. Creates more emissions than those same 250 people driving from San Francisco to New York.
That's the implication.
There is that implication is built into the reason, rationale.
Yes.
I don't believe that.
No.
I think it's just lies.
But what this is more indicative of is how certainly this administration has been really running things by the new powers, the reasonably new powers that the agencies have to just
bureaucratic
create
power.
whatever regulations they want.
Make a law.
Yeah. Well, or change the law, etc. Exactly. I see you watch the TSA security thing on C-SPAN?
No.
Oh, because I saw you have airport security stuff.
These are news stories because I've concluded that this entire TSA. Well, let's play these, and I'll give you my conclusion then if you want to.
Yes.
Let's start with one.
Okay.
The new report found the TSA does not have access to terrorist watch list data that would have flagged 73 airport workers. That includes airline employees, airport vendors, and others with access to secure areas of commercial airports in the U.S. The TSA is responsible for vetting every application for airport security credentials. The report noted the vetting was generally effective, but it identified thousands of aviation worker records that appeared incomplete or inaccurate, including those for 75,000 immigrants that did not list a passport number and 87,000 records without a social security number, something by law the TSA cannot require.
Huh. Why can't they? Why I have to give the last four numbers of my social for anything?
Well, this that would really baffle me when he said that.
Yeah.
So you're hiring somebody
without.
Now, I don't know if you've ever been hired for a job. I believe so.
Few.
They always ask for your social security number on your employment thing because they've got to give you W-2s, W-4s. They got to give you something, and they need your social security number so they can also give this data to the government.
You think that the report may be wrong, or?
I think this was just dropped in as more. Well, we need more power. I think this whole thing is a giant scam to get the TSA more money, more power, and also to promote these, the Patriot Act and some of the other things that are floating out there in limbo. So let's jack everybody up.
I understand that if you do not have a social security number, you can take your payment in iPads.
I thought it was in Bitcoin. Okay, play Social Security.
Number 2.
The report follows last week's revelation that undercover agents posing as passengers were able to sneak mock explosives or banned weapons through security checkpoints 95% of the time. The test found a potential vulnerability with airport body scanners.
Now, this was the giveaway. They are piling on because this is an old report. They're reiterating. When they start reiterating the news, in other words, bringing back old stories as part of a news story.
This is very important what you're saying. Yes.
That means something's up. This is a scheme. Something is afoot. And play 3, which I titled The Scam.
The big question from the new report is how dangerous were these 73 workers? And that section is redacted.
Whoa. Hold on a second.
Okay, that broke up.
Hold on. Let me play it again. See what's going on with this. If something's wrong.
No, it's not you.
That was you?
No, that was CBS.
Oh, we're better than CBS apparently. Okay.
So this was the scam of the scams. They said, and the guy holds up a piece of paper, and it's got black shit all over it the way when they
redacted. Yeah.
And he says, how dangerous were these guys who got through without, they were on the terrorist watch list? We don't know because it was all redacted. So they must have been very dangerous. We've got to do something. We've got to pass more laws. We need more money. That's what that said to me.
Well, this leads into a little run.
But before you lead into anything, and I just want to do a little aside. The beginning of clip 2, there's a sound effect.
Okay.
Which is very familiar with me. I've heard it a million times. I can't place it.
The report.
That thing, that ding, 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 ding?
Yeah.
Let me listen again.
The report followed.
The chat room will know. All right.
But let's go one more time.
The report followed.
I don't know what that is.
I've said it a million times.
Chain link fence?
No, it's something it's like your suitcase dragging along and something.
Well, I'm reading the chat room. Bicycle bell?
Oh, no.
Ice cream vendor? Ice cream vendor?
Don't read the dumb ones. I showed
it. Guess what? Some say it's it's the Vegas airport, and it's slot machines, which would be familiar to you.
No. No. All right, onward.
Well, so yes, what you said about when they start to reiterate, bring back old news stories, something is up. And we had something happen earlier today. In fact, it happened on Tuesday. You and I happened to be doing something. We were working on a special episode. I'm going to play that first, and then I'm going to do a little rundown so we can really get a good handle on what has been taking place in what we sometimes would call the 6-week cycle, but this is a little more transparent than and it also doesn't involve all terrorists being nabbed by the FBI. During the daily press briefing on Tuesday, there was a bomb threat called in, several bomb threats called in, one to the actual press conference, and the room had to be evacuated. So everyone sitting there and they're asking questions with Josh Earnest up on stage. They had to leave, and then we actually saw a little bit of the dogs running through. It didn't look like it was kind of a strange sweep. I mean, if you're going to evacuate the press in the West Wing and all you see is dogs running through, I was expecting a robot or something of that nature. But they also evacuated the TSA hearing on Capitol Hill, which was about this very report. Now, what was interesting is the president was in the White House. However, he was not moved. He was not evacuated. No one else was moved. Josh Earnest went back to his room. He was not told to shelter in place. But the press were moved way down towards the executive building. And this, of course, did raise some questions.
We went outside. You say it was to keep us cool, but I don't think it was. We were out there. You were in your office. We went to Pebble Beach first, and then they moved us further down into the next building on the campus and moved us even further back. It wasn't for coolness. It was because of a fear. So my question is, with the proximity to everyone and everything here, the seat of power just feet away, and they were not moved. But we had to be pushed all the way back. There's something not jiving and not mixing. It just seems odd.
Okay. Well, April, for the questions that you have about decisions that were made by the Secret Service, then I would encourage you to contact the Secret Service, and they can maybe get you a more specific answer to your question than I'm able to.
The Secret Service to break into a briefing, which they don't. If they had to think about it coming in, because I watched them, they had to think about stopping the briefing because of the severity, and no one was moved. It's just, it doesn't sound right. I'm sorry.
Sorry. She's sorry. Well, April, I can help you out. Let us take a look at the month of June 2015. It started off with of course, we had the expiration of the Patriot Act. President Obama signed the USA Freedom Act into law on June 2nd. But of course, on June 2nd, just before Congress was set to start the debate of the Freedom Act, we had multiple bomb threats against U.S. aircraft. You'll recall this. The 5 bomb threats, it could have been called in by an ISIS lone wolf. So very convenient then for the president just signed the Freedom Act in. 2 days after the president signed the Freedom Act, we had a massive security breach, which of course was done by China. This was the Office of Personnel Management. Even though the hack occurred in December, this was the news of and this is of course
the way you do it.
Sorry?
It's the way you do it.
Yeah.
You hold these things back as little things. Okay, time to let's roll it out. Let's roll out that. Okay, let's roll it out. Who are we going to blame? Korea? No. China.
So the president, even he was with the group of 7 in Germany. Here's what he said: we have known for a long time there are significant vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities are going to accelerate as time goes by, and we need strong, security, cybersecurity laws, etc. Legislation.
Money.
An hour after that statement, what did we have? The Syrian government hacking group claimed responsibility for hacking the official U.S. Army .mil website. Nice coincidence, huh?
Yeah.
So we've got China.
Okay, you got another good idea for admin WP?
I know.
Yeah. Let's try Army Rocks.
Here, just
try that. Army Rocks, we're in.
It was probably more like, could you please type in cp index new.html, indexhack.html to index.html. Thanks. Great. We're good to go. The quote, Monday's attack may have been the first breach of a website directly operated by the U.S. military. It's their recruitment site. But of course, we can call back to the cyber caliphate who hacked Twitter and YouTube accounts of CENTCOM, U.S. Central Command. So, of course, we have the hacker ISIS. And now we have the Protecting Cyber Networks Act, which is currently in the House, which will be part of the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act. And then let's see. Then all of a sudden we have another bomb threat. I mean, this is it's so obvious what is going on. Every single time we need to get something through, move it through, get something placed, set an agenda. We have one of these phony baloney attacks, which really mean nothing.
They're not even really attacks.
No, they're
just calls.
Yes. So this is all happening under the repealment of the Smith-Mundt Act, which I just like to remind people of from time to time. As a part of the 2013 National Defense Authorization Act, the United States government is now allowed to propagandize its own people, the citizens of the United States. And it's happening. And it's happening to push through legislation constantly. It could also have been to shut this guy up at the TSA hearing. This is a federal air marshal. His name is Robert McLean. And this happened before the bomb threat came in. He's making some form of sense, but the whole thing is.
Was he cut off because of the bomb threat?
He was not cut off, no. But it happened not long after. That would have been fantastic. Timing was a little off. Just listen to what he has to say. His heart's in the right place, I think.
Flight crews and law enforcement officers need the legal authority to deputize and indemnify vetted, able-bodied passengers to protect themselves and the jet from destruction. We could do this process during our pre-check. There's no reason why an athlete or a military member can walk deep into the cabin to restrain somebody. During pre-check enrollment, we can ask passengers to volunteer to be these deputy air marshals.
I want a badge. I want in.
Here's your plastic badge, boy.
No, it'll be a patch. It won't be a badge. It'll be a patch.
You can wear it anytime you want on any clothes.
How cool would that be? Excuse me, ma'am. Deputy air marshal.
Then you hold up the patch and flap it around.
And some people will laminate it to make it look a little more official.
During critical events, pre-check should be greatly expanded, and it should be free of charge.
I'm all in the free of charge, but no, let's not expand this. This is an elite thing. This is so I can travel freely without hassle. I don't want long lines because everyone's a damn deputy.
More people in pre-check frees up resources to focus on attackers. I like to see TSOs roaming airports with mobile pre-check application kits and soliciting passengers during their delays.
Can I interrupt this and ask you a quick question?
Sure.
We've been doing this for almost 8 years.
Yeah.
In 8 years, and considering there's probably 40,000 flights a day, you could have to multiply 40,000 times 365 times 8 years. How many events happened on airplanes that required this procedure or deputies to save the aircraft? How many can you recall? That?
As far as
aircraft have been dropped from the sky?
Well,
40,000 times 360 times 8. in the last 8 years?
Well,
none have been dropped from the sky. We know that
multiple answers. We have had, of course, really one instance with the shoe bomber. The underwear bomber, where the passengers jumped him.
Right. Well, they jumped the shoe bomber, too, earlier.
Yes.
Although that wasn't domestic.
However, we have had tens, maybe even scores of aircraft turn around, make emergency landings for drunk passengers, babies who are crying, people just... So, no, it's useless, obviously.
We need to have more faith in human intelligence gathering and the intuition of bold officers. But in order to get more air marshals on the ground, you need to completely secure the flight deck or the cockpit.
Now, he has some interesting ideas here, which one of them is super logical, and I don't understand why it hasn't happened yet.
Where the pilots are in control of the jet. Every flight deck should have a modified shotgun with an emergency lock switch.
Yeah.
Shotgun pellets are an ideal since the primary concern is to stop an attacker trying to force the door open. In a highly unlikely miss, shotgun pellets will not harm passengers or the aircraft.
No. Ow, my eye. What is that?
My eye, I'm blind.
The group of pilots...
Wait, I think I don't think he says this, but it would be really cool is to have one of those little holes in the door like in a Brinks armored truck.
You just shoot out of the door.
Stick the gun out and move it around a little bit. Hey, is this going on?
Pellets will not harm passengers or the aircraft. The group of pilots who use their own funds to travel to Artesia, New Mexico, spending a week being trained and issue a TSA 40 caliber semi-automatic pistol, can miss and kill an innocent passenger in the very back of the cabin with a jacketed bullet. Once again, this is highly unlikely, but it's possible. Armed pilots are not allowed to carry their pistols on international flights due to very restrictive handgun laws in foreign countries. But a shotgun modified to stop one or two hijackers trying to break into the cockpit from 1 foot away would be an aim for a host country to deny and risk another 9/11 style attack.
There's your idea, John. There's the little hole, the Brinks truck hole, 1 foot away.
It's an extreme hazard whenever a pilot opens the flight deck door to use the lavatory to get food and drink. An amped up attacker.
I like amped up attacker. I'm amped up, man. I'm
speedball.
Food and drink. An amped up attacker can dive inside and destroy the jet. There's a cheap and perfect solution.
Wait, hold on. How many times has that happened in the last 8 years?
0.
With 40,000 flights a day times 365 days.
Yeah. But listen to the idea. His idea is not bad.
An attacker can dive inside and destroy the jet. There's a cheap and perfect solution to this. Secondary barriers. 10 horizontal cables attached to a vertical pole, a flight attendant can simply stretch across the front of the forward galley and lock in place.
And that would replace what I've always thought was a really dumb idea, where they move the galley cart and they stand behind the cart.
That does look stupid. The girls are there and it's behind the cars, like and they're looking left and they're looking right.
So I think the idea of these wires are good, but instead of having these steel cables at the front of the plane, just put steel cables around every passenger. And that would be
just strap you down. That's what
this barrier buys the flight crew
place when the captain comes out.
Yeah,
plenty of time.
You got your arm on the armrest and the little handcuff thing comes around.
Yeah.
This barrier buys the flight crew plenty of time to quickly get the pilot back into the flight deck
Get the shotgun.
and lock the door.
Yeah.
In order to control unruly passengers who could be suicidal attackers setting up a ruse for the law enforcement officers.
It's a ruse.
Board. Every cabin should be equipped with restraint systems and non-lethal
That's just for the pilots to have fun with the stewardesses.
tools to restrain unruly passengers or stop murderous attackers.
Come here, Alice. Let me restrain you, girl.
I think there's a bigger problem they never want to address.
Oh, hold on a second. Time to call in the bomb threat.
There's one thing they never address in these meetings. I just don't understand it, because this is a danger to any airplane. Spontaneous human combustion.
I was just talking about that the other day. I'm glad you brought it up, because I was talking about this, and I said, John's a believer.
Well, only because I've done research on it.
Do you want to reiterate your research?
No, I mean, I could reiterate it, but there's plenty of documented cases where somebody just burns to a pile of ashes, really not doing much damage to the area around them, except the spot they're seated.
Right.
They tend to be in an overstuffed chair. I've found documentation of this going back to the 1600s. I'm sure there's stuff before that. but you're sitting around. Here's for anyone who this happens to. I don't know what you can do about it. I've never heard anyone stop it in process.
And it's usually the legs, right? The legs.
No, around the girth is where the blue flames first start to appear. And they kind of shoot out like it was like propane torches kind of.
Do we have video? Do we have video of this?
Well, I'm waiting for the video. And then the next thing you know, you're completely engulfed in flame. I never heard of anybody screaming or in pain, which is kind of.
It doesn't usually happen when you're asleep in a Barca lounge.
It happens when you're in asleep. It's happened on a pulpit where a preacher just went up in flames, but it generally happens in an overstuffed chair.
Yeah, in a Barca lounger.
Yeah, you're sitting in a Barca lounge. Well, it's got to be over. And then you just catch on fire and you're just a pile of ash. The lounge chair is singed.
It's a way to go.
But if this happens on an airplane, I don't know, cause who knows what kind of panic.
Oh, yes. But it's never happened on an airplane as far as I know.
As far as you know.
As far as I know, yes. Indeed. Most emailed response to the previous program. Did you receive a lot of emails about one particular topic?
No.
Texture of food.
Oh, I didn't get that much.
I got a lot. And
I got another batch of mail about something else. But
there was a lot of tweets, people saying, yes, my wife has this. And to your point, a lot of people who have texture issues with food won't eat it as the raw food, but if it's blended, it's okay. Or if it's baked into something else, it's okay. A lot of men saying, I have this too. More men than I thought. I thought it was just a female thing, although it does seem that just from my informal survey that it is more prevalent with women. It seems to be a little bit of a millennial thing too, just judging by some of the age ranges. And something I should have done much earlier. Usually I do this. This is real, and it has an entry in the DSM-5 manual, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. It is a mental disorder, so get ready to tell your wife she has honey, you've got a mental disorder. It is known as avoidant or restrictive food intake disorder, and it is considered an eating. You can also call it SED. It's either ARFID, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, also known as selective eating disorder.
Huh.
And unfortunately, there are no drugs for it yet.
Oh, that'll. Why would anyone want it? I don't know.
I love the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. We're all crazy for something.
Yeah.
I actually discovered a new disorder, which I want to have in the DSM manual.
Probably in there if you look hard enough.
No, I checked this one. Lintitis. I'll bet you also suffer from lintitis. I suffer from lintitis.
Where you pick up a little piece of lint and
No. Lintitis is
you have hairballs on your sweater and you got to shave them off.
No. It is the compulsion to lift the lint from the dryer off in one piece.
Well, I don't know that that's a compulsion. You do it generally speaking because it's easier.
It's a win for me.
What are you going to do? Pull off pieces at a time? No. Alternative?
No, you can pull the whole. No, you want to pull off without it breaking. So you get that one whole.
It's more work if it breaks.
Get the whole flap.
It's a work avoidance disorder.
I noticed. What am I doing? I'm really happy when I got the whole thing off in one go. And then you use the dryer sheet to rub the rest off.
You use dryer sheets?
Yeah, you don't use dryer sheets?
God, no. The chemicals in that, I wouldn't be anywhere near that stuff.
But it makes everything fluffy and smell nice.
Throw a bottle of perfume in next time.
Well,
I can't imagine. What it does to fibers and what it possibly does when it's up against your body is I don't even want to think about. That's how deadly.
Oh, wow. Thank you for telling me this. Well, thank you. I shall immediately cease this operation.
Not that it fluffs stuff up that much.
Well, the little bear on the package looks like it's going to fluff everything up.
The bear on the package.
Amen. Fist bump.
Bear on the package.
Lynn Titus. Look it up. It's real. It's real, I tell you.
I bet it is. All right. Since we were talking a little bit about climate change, I do have the Amy Goodman clip. I'm going to collect these now because no matter what she says is always related to climate change. And let's say Amy says climate change clip.
Last month was officially the wettest month ever recorded in the United States. Despite a record drought in California, states across the Midwest were hit by heavy rain in May, a pattern which has been linked to climate change.
It's like that pattern's linked to climate change. If it was just the opposite, California isn't being flooded and the rest of the country's in a drought. That's been linked to climate change.
It's really unbelievable. Everything is.
I'm going to make a huge clip file. That's why I put that one in there.
The climate change clip file?
For Amy, just Amy, because she brings it in all the time. She brings it in more than anybody else working on television. I have if you want to, since we're on her topic, let me just do a little
on climate change or just on her?
No, Amy.
Oh, well, before you move on with Amy then, at the G7, the leaders of the G7, you always want to push stuff out as a politician. So we have these 2020 goals where China is supposed to kick in doing nothing. And
no, I almost had this clip. I know which one you're going.
It's not a clip. It's not a clip. The G7 leaders have agreed to completely phase out all fossil fuel by the end of the century.
Yeah.
When we're all dead anyway.
Carbon elimination, they call it. Yeah, I got that too.
Nuts.
They're big talkers.
Yeah.
All right, so the Weavers. This is the clip is the Weavers, and Weavers 2 is the follow-up. I guess the lead singer, who is a really good singer of the Weavers.
I'm not familiar with the Weavers.
Well, of course not. The Weavers were a folk act in the 50s. And they predated a bunch of, and Pete Seeger was in the group, and it was that, they were singing protest songs and way before anybody else, and then they got apparently blackballed. But play the clip. Here's the little rundown of this woman who died. It's the last one.
Kentucky Democratic Governor Stephen Beshear has signed an executive order raising the minimum wage for employees of the state executive branch to $10.
Is that on there?
I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm sorry. I should have clipped that off. But the minimum wage went up somewhere.
And 10 cents an hour.
I'll just do something for myself.
The order will raise the salaries of nearly 800 state workers beginning July 1st. Governor Beshear said the current U.S.
We'll just talk over it for a little while. Good work, John.
Hour is, quote, simply not enough to support a family.
I do my best.
Here we go.
Folk music fans are mourning the death of singer Ronnie Gilbert, one of 4 founding members of the Weavers who helped popularize folk music and bring its message of social change to the world. In a documentary called The Weavers, Wasn't That a Time?, Ronnie Gilbert recalled the period around the Weavers' founding after World War II, saying, quote, "We still had the feeling that if we could sing loud enough and strong enough and hopefully enough, it would make a difference." The Weavers were targeted by anti-communist fervor, investigated by the Senate Internal Security Subcommittee, and blacklisted.
Did they have any hits that I would?
They were blacklisted. I think they had a couple. But there was this folk era that, there was a folk era that.
This is Bob Dylan came out of this, and Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
The Kingston Trio.
Kingston Trio, definitely.
Rooftop Singers.
Were you looking something up? Are you reading something?
No, I'm a disc jockey. I have all the Lawrence.
The Rooftop Singers.
Yes, I have all the Lawrence Welk albums.
So meanwhile, they tell the story of this woman, and they have Pete come on, and he talks about what a great voice she had. Now I'm actually curious about her voice. But so Amy goes to part 2 of this, or the end of this clip. And I pointed this out before, and it's probably the worst in broadcasting, radio, or television. She runs her stories together 90% of the time, so you don't know if she's talking about one thing or another. This one was so egregious.
Is this a prompter issue, do you think?
I think it's her writers, or they just run these stories together. She's reading from the prompter because you can see her eyes going back and forth. And it must be a prompter issue, but I think it's also they don't do breaks, or she should go watch Judy Woodruff, because the 2 people that do news rundowns are PBS NewsHour. In other words, they do a bunch of stories,
right?
And then they do their features later. They're the only group that does it. Everybody else spreads it out, kind of a news item feature right on top of it.
Right.
But those 2 do it, and Woodruff does fine. She goes from story to story, and you know what story it is. Amy, no. She just rattles off all the stuff that's on the prompter, and this is the worst case I've ever heard. She catches herself and then makes some boneheaded comment, but you'll hear this. Listen to this.
Ronnie Gilbert died on Saturday at a retirement community in the California Bay Area suburb of Mill Valley at the age of 88. Her death was confirmed by her partner, Donna, an immigrant teenage mother in our final headline who attempted suicide at a private Texas family detention center after being denied asylum.
Whoa! She was gay? What? Who? He? What? Who? Let me listen to that again. That was good.
Ronnie Gilbert died on Saturday at a retirement community in the California Bay Area suburb of Mill Valley at the age of 88.
Done.
Her death was confirmed by her partner, Donna. And
wait a minute. Now this is a huge mistake. That's not just run-on. That's. I think someone eliminated a whole block of copy in the prompter. She's just reading. She's not even thinking about what she's reading, John.
Oh, no, she's never thinking. She just reads. And that's why she runs these stories together. She does it all the time. Nothing quite as bad as this, where that is also borderline clip of the day as well. That's a good one. It was just like, wow.
Fantastic.
And, she gets paid to do this?
Yeah. Big controversy. Big controversy. The president, you probably heard this. He was hanging out with Rainey. Is it Rainey? Raimi, I think. The Italian president, prime minister. I'm butchering this. And they were out on the balcony somewhere in the White House, and it looked like the president had a pack of smokes in his hand, getting ready to take a smoke. You can search this. You can just say, just type in Obama smoking. And this came up, of course, in the press briefing after the bomb threat, because the president, if he were to be lying about smoking, and I was a secret smoker for a while in my first marriage, and I was lying about it, and it gets easy to lie about a lot of things. I think once you have that's a big lie. I feel.
Yeah, for the president of the United States.
Yeah.
There seems to be.
I'm looking at the picture now.
I'm gonna play the clip here of the question.
There seems to be a picture that's going around making the news with President Obama meeting with the Italian Prime Minister, and he has something in his hand, and there's a lot of question about what this white thing is in his hand. Can you tell us? Is the president, does he have a pack of cigarettes in his hand?
He does not.
He does not.
What was it?
I don't know, April. I wasn't there. But
but I mean, did he tell you what it was?
No, you may not be surprised to hear that I have not raised this issue with the president today.
Okay, well, the president, as you've acknowledged, he reads media reports, and it's everywhere. This picture with him holding something.
I'm not sure that's the way I describe it.
It is everywhere. Check it out.
Check it out, man. It's everywhere. It's on BuzzFeed.
Well, I mean, and the sizing, I'm not a smoker, but the sizing looks like, and so you're saying.
I told you it's not there in cigarettes.
It's not.
Let's move on.
It's not. Move on. Shut up, slave. Move on. Don't say anything about the smoking. Go ahead.
Shut up, slave.
It's a pack of smokes. It's a pack of smokes.
You would know.
Yeah.
That's what everybody else thought.
And he's holding it the way a smoker opens up a pack of Luckies. It's probably Cools. Doesn't he smoke? Didn't he smoke Cools?
I don't know what he smoked.
Yeah. Well, he did respond to it. The president responded to this question.
Grüß Gott.
There you go. Grüß Gott. This was so strange when he was in Germany. Grüß Gott. Heil, everybody. He should have added that at the end. Grüß Gott. Heil, everybody.
There's a need for a rescue mission. When the world is threatened, the world needs help, it calls on America. And that's the story.
Grüß Gott.
Yeah, he's holding a pack of smokes. There's no doubt about it.
A pack of smokes. Yeah. Liars.
We still don't see him smoking, so maybe he just carries around as a prop.
It's a shitty lie, man. It's a shitty lie. It's just shitty. It's not okay. Just sneaking smokes. Just say it. I'm hooked.
And people should, right. You'd probably get more mileage talking about how
honest he is.
For him to stop smoking them.
Yeah, yes. Transparent. No. Can't have any of that.
So have you seen a picture of the WTC4 building that is proposing they're going to build?
No, I read something about it that what I read, and this, of course, is a Silverstein property, who had the original two buildings and issued the pull order. Pull it.
Yeah, he's the one who said pull it.
Pull it on. And
he also didn't want to put a bunch of insurance on these things.
Was it double the? No, he said he wanted double the insurance because it was 2 buildings.
Yeah, they didn't. They finally didn't give him the money on that deal. Something else going on.
Oh.
But here, I understand he got kind of screwed on the insurance. But WTC4, here's the rundown.
We got our first look today at the design for the new 2 World Trade Center, the 4th and final tower to rise from the ashes. 80 stories tall, it will resemble a giant staircase.
There's a lady who knows all that glitters is gold. She's behind a stairway to heaven.
Amen. Fist bump.
Okay.
How'd that get on there?
Is it going to be one of those tallest buildings ever?
No, it's only 80 stories, but it looks like a giant stairway to heaven.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's the stupidest looking building I've ever seen.
And this is by a very young architect, I think. They had an original architect, the famous architect who did and anyway, they moved that out and they got a new young guy to design it. Stairway to heaven. When I was in New York, they have these, they call them, I think, pencil buildings or pin buildings. And it's a very, very tall building, and each floor is 1 unit.
Oh, yeah.
It's really creepy.
There's stuff on YouTube that takes you through some of these.
Oh.
It's like there's a place in Berkeley that somebody built like that, only it's even thinner, where every floor is 1 room.
Oh. How does that...
You want to go to the bedroom, you go up 2 stories.
How does that really work?
I think if it had a big fire pole all the way down to the bottom, it would work well, but they don't have that. I don't know.
A fire pole you could slide down in the morning. Hey, neighbor. Hey, neighbor. Hey, neighbor. All the way down.
Yeah.
Yes. On just going back to climate change for a moment, I didn't have this in order. We have the leap second coming up, which we discussed earlier. On an earlier
that's
show.
Such a big deal.
Yeah, well, Google's getting into it because they have to. What they're going to do is they have a 20-hour what they're calling a smear window, where they will slightly slow down all of the servers, so that at the end of the smear window, disgusting thought, smear. Oh, we got a smear window.
We got a smear window made out of lox flavored smear.
But to explain this. How the second comes into play, here's Google's quote. However, unlike leap years, leap seconds do not happen at regular intervals because the Earth's rotation speed varies irregularly in response to climactic and global geological events.
You sent me this as an email. Yeah, climate change is slowing down the rotation of the Earth. Or speeding it up. I don't know. They won't say.
It's just, huh? Yeah, they might as well just say, oops. Oh, that failed. Never mind.
That failed.
Yeah. Sorry. We're all going to die is what I was going to say.
All right, well, I got the follow-up to that. Make it a great day. Play that clip.
Make it a great day. Enjoy.
We're all going to die. Okay. Oh, man. These are good, John. I like these for the end of show.
I just hear them on the TV. I go, oh.
Yeah, that's
talking about hearing something or seeing something. You see it, you know it. So my daughter's, one of her best friends, maybe her best friend, the girl whose family is from Georgia. Mm-hmm. Not Georgia here, but Georgia in Eastern Europe.
Oh, yes.
She calls me up to tell me this because she said it might be of interest to the show. And I told her to send me some examples. She never did.
Your daughter's girlfriend calls you up?
Yeah.
Does she listen to the show?
Yeah.
How old is she? So she's a millennial?
Yeah, she would be 21, 22.
Fantastic.
And she says...
Is she hot? Is she hot?
She's a pretty girl.
Yeah, okay.
She says...
I'm such a creep.
That she said, first of all, she admitted that she's nuts about one thing and one thing only, and she even has a tattoo, and she's going to get another one about this. She sees hexagons everywhere.
I bet it's in DSM-5.
she looks, I'm sure it is. She looks at a newspaper article and then she'll see hexagons like in the print and she just sees them. She called me not to tell me that she sees hexagons everywhere she looks.
Hexagons or honeycombs or just
honeycomb hexagon. It's a six-sided thing. I put one in the newsletter. Somebody made the Earth into if you look at a cube and you look at it in 2 dimensions, it's a hexagon.
Yeah.
Now, the reason she called was she's seeing a lot more of them than ever.
Huh.
And I said, well, the first part is like, okay, you see hexagons everywhere. I guess you can, that's just an anomaly, an ailment. I don't know. But seeing more than ever, she says they're cropping up everywhere. I thought, well, she said, that might be a no agenda thing. I said, well, it could be. I don't know what it is, though. But now that it's been revealed, we can.
This is going to be one of these things where it's going to be like hearing people say, "Yeah, no, we're going to see hexagon." But this is turn off this program, people.
It's driving everyone crazy. The no, and the fact of the matter, and all these things.
Oh, and
people are hearing it everywhere because they're saying it everywhere.
There's a new one. There's a new one that you have.
I have it.
Mm-hmm. It's another affliction. Are you ready? We have a little montage.
Oh, so that guy. Because I studied the Civil War to an extreme. Hitchens hated Clinton to such an extreme. And he's not in this clip because he is being cowed by Chris Matthews to such an extreme that Rand Paul does this to an extreme, which has been debunked to an extreme by universities and everybody in between. Well, unless somebody's hacked the passport to such an extreme.
How do you feel?
That's great.
Sir LBF sent that in.
Well, actually, when he said when the first one ran, I recognized it immediately. I knew that's what it was going to be. I knew that to an extreme.
And what does it really mean to an extreme? Really, so far that it's just the extreme? It's almost the end of the universe, John?
It's more filler. We've got a 3-hour show to fill.
And with that, I would like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C., where it stands for Counting Hexagons, Dvorak.
Yeah. Well, I want to say in the morning to you, Adam Curry, in the morning to all ships to sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And in the morning, everyone in the chat room, noagendastream.com. Thank you very much for checking in. In the morning to all of our artists, and in the morning specifically to Nick the Rat, who brought us the Keystone Cops for the previous episode with the tank.
We love the Keystone Cops.
Always good with the Keystone Cops. And thank you to all artists. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can find all of the submissions for each episode. And they're just so beautiful. Even though they don't always adhere to what kind of our loose rules are. For instance, don't use our heads. We don't like that anymore.
No, we gave up on that because there's hundreds of those.
Yeah. And granted, quite funny, but it's not about us. It's about the
community.
Exactly. Yes, the community.
Well, we do have a few people to thank for show 92.
729er.
729. I got 792 written down here for some stupid reason. 729. We want to thank a few people for helping us here. We got a couple of executive producers. 2 of them, as a matter of fact. When I say a couple, I mean 2. Robert Sigro in San Jose, California, 364. He's the top guy.
He's very specific. It's Scro.
Scro. Yeah, I didn't read his note yet. Scro. No. Scro. In the morning to you, John and Adam, and thanks to you both, as always, for your courage. I want to use this time to call out Pete, Jack, and Eric as douchebags. Douchebag. In hopes that it gets them to donate to the show. In addition to all you listeners who haven't donated, and that's plenty, I say this. Do your part in keeping the greatest podcast in the universe afloat. Please accept this donation, half of today's episode number.
Yeah, I like this new trend. This is very good.
Well, it's not really. We're at show 729, aren't we?
Oh, but he probably donated this. Well,
yeah, he probably came in late from last show.
Yeah.
That's okay. We'll give you, it's $364.50. We'll throw in the extra couple quarters.
Yeah. I only got, there's one. And hold on. I think I have
another one.
Yeah, I got one here. There we go.
There you go. Okay, so we're even. Now we got it. Please accept this donation, half of today's show episode number, towards my knighthood. And if I could get some karma, it'd be greatly appreciated, of course.
Absolutely.
P.S. You don't need to read this on the show, but my name is pronounced Scro.
There you go. Karma for you, my friend. Thank you very much for your 50 donation.
You've got
we need a name for this.
Karma.
What do you call it? A halfer. A halfer?
A halfer.
A half.
A half and halfer.
No, half and half is a term you don't want to use.
Huh?
Half and half is a sex term.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yes.
Vladimir Kliga in Ostrava, Czech Republic. Ostrava. 333. Reading newsletter today, I realize I can no longer take it anymore. Please accept my apologies for being a douchebag for more than 5 years. A douchebag. Please send me karma. You can de-douche him.
Yeah.
De-douche the word.
Yeah, of course.
You've been de-douched.
He says, please send me karma. Any 2 jingles Adam will pick. And John, you were right. I feel better already.
Nice.
Vlad.
Those who benefit society the most and who prove their superiority get to have more happiness.
Abbottabad. 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 Abbottabad.
You've got karma.
Sir Norman McDonough and Baronet, actually, sir. Woodstock, Ontario, Canada, $250 from Sir Norman. May I have Judge Janine? I'll kill them, bomb them with the guitar background. If not, Colonel Bogey version is fine.
We need to kill them. We need to kill them. Bomb them, bomb them, bomb them, and bomb them again.
You've got karma.
It's a 2-minute thing. I'll play it at the end of the show.
Play it at the end.
Let's play it at the end of the show.
Werner Flipson in...
hey, Werner. Yeah, sure.
Bergenhoek.
Let me take a look. Werner Flipson, Bergenshoek.
Bergenshoek. 23456. And
Nice.
he's in Holland. He says, and the Wi-Fi stays up. A mysterious message.
It's code. Don't say anything else because of his name.
Sir Otaku in Louisville, Texas.
Hey.
Actually, Louisville is the way they pronounce it there. 23456. ITM, John and Adam. It's been a while since I last donated. I've been busy upgrading to extra and losing my shirt in competition barbecue. Oh, well, maybe you should send me an email. I get ideas. Make sure you pull the skin off the back. You know, one of the things about barbecue competition, you don't really cook what anybody actually would get from you in the restaurant normally. And one of the things, this is for people who like to cook ribs. It's pretty much required, and when you do competitive rib cooking, that you tear off the membrane off the backside of the bone side of the ribs, which is a pain in the butt. You have to, first you got to loosen it off the end ribs, and then you got to get it so it's completely a piece that you can wearing some. So you got it's slippery, it's greasy ribs, and so you got to take both hands and you got to grab that slippery membrane. You got to rip it off the back.
It's not for amateurs, is what you're saying.
It's not for amateurs. Right. So while there's a hiatus in my other hobbies, here is a little bit to help support the best podcast in the universe. Came with 23456. This donation should put me over the baronet level, and my accounting is below. Maybe I'll run into Adam at Hamcom.
Yeah, that's right. After this show, I take off. I'm on my way to Hamcom in Irving, Texas. Woohoo!
Oh, really?
And you know what? K1ZZ's going to be there, John.
K1ZZ?
Absolutely. Mr. Ham Radio.
He says if I do, I'll buy you, Adam, a beer or two after hours.
Nice.
A beer or two. The beer, maybe we could get a No Agenda meetup together over the weekend. There's a lot of places to go, have a good drink. Can I get some mac and cheese karma and little girl yay? Thanks, Soro Taco.
Yeah.
K5VZ.
In the morning, KF5SLN. That's where you say?
What?
Your call sign.
Oh, 73, Kevin Johnson, 6, liquid natural gas. you slaves can get used to mac and cheese. Cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese. The mac and cheese life.
Mac and Cheese by Ayn Rand.
Yay! You've got karma.
Sir Andrew Haverson in Gravenhurst, Ontario, Canada, $201. He'd be an associate executive producer. ITM, Sir Andrew here, stepping up to the plate, making my way to Barron. It appears the powers that be can I known. Whatever. If it appeases the powers that be, can I be known as the Baronet of Barkway?
Well, of course.
A road out in the boonies near here.
You get that road, no problem.
My figures, and he's got his numbers.
Nice.
He sent us a Google's Docs spreadsheet.
Nice.
Cute.
Thank you very much, Baronet of Barkway.
Andela Dowie.
No, Dawa Andela.
Dawa is a first name.
That's a first name, yes. Dawa. In fact, there's a very famous coffee brand in the Netherlands called Douwe Egberts. Although that may be a last name in that case. But I know lots of guys named Douwe, which means kind of push. It means if you were to translate it directly and you put the N on the end, Douwe would mean pushing. I'm a pusher.
Oh.
Douwe.
Okay, well, it seems to be pushing coffee. I like the way John pronounced Martin's Dick last time.
Martin's Dijk.
But that is actually the town where my business is located. It donates to the show. I live one town over in Holland Rading.
Hollandse Rading.
Good luck with that one, John. Keep up the good work. Jingles and artwork are also getting better and better.
Try it. Hollandse Rading.
Hollandse Rading.
Very good.
John Christek, John S. Christek, over here in Berkeley. I can wave to him from the house. $200. Hey, citizens, thank you for your citizen. This is your neighbor, Baltimore John of North Berkeley. Hope you didn't get caught up in the zombies that emerged in the wake of the power outage Monday afternoon. I didn't get a power outage here. I'm on the same circuit as the police department.
Is that a fact?
Yes, and it's very rare that I have a power outage. Very rare. It does happen, but it's rare.
But I remember it was earlier was it the beginning of the year, maybe? Or maybe in December? Yeah, I had to play music for 6 hours before you had power back.
Yeah, well, that was the police were out, too. Please take this donation as a token of my gratitude for maintaining my mental health. We get a lot of people to send checks in. It says sanity is on the note. The show it truly helps me keep it together. That and lots of weed. Love you guys. Please keep up the great work. If you can, pass along a bit of work karma and some brolf.
Well, we don't have specific work karma. We could do...
jobs karma. I think it means jobs karma.
Jobs karma. Hold on. Let me grab the jobs karma. It's in this bin over here. It's heavy. Heavy, the jobs
Dr. Fauci, thanks so much, as always, for joining us.
Good to be here, brolf.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
That's one hot
Brolf.
baby. You've got karma.
I still love that clip.
I love the clip.
Thanks, brolf.
David K. in Tempe, Arizona, $200. He says, please send some bar exam karma to my gorgeous girlfriend, Trisha, and all the other suckers out there studying for the July bar exam.
Yeah, send pictures. Here's the karma for you.
You've got karma.
And that concludes our executive producers, associate executive producers for show 729. I want to remind people we do have a show coming up on Sunday. It'll be show 730. It was 7:30 in the morning. Go to Dvorak.org/NA and see if you can find some way to help us here on the next show.
And I would like to remind everyone to sign up for the newsletter. This is, we have a number of ancillary products that the show creates. Show Notes is one of them, which, of course, has spawned search.nashownotes.com and No Agenda Player, which is just fantastic. And Donna, who maintains the search site, he's now going to integrate the No Agenda Player site into that. So when you search for something, you can find the topic and any show notes associated with it, and from what I understand, there will be a link right into that piece of the show.
Wow.
Take that, NPR. Boom.
That would be dynamite.
Let me just drop my mic. Hell yeah. Please sign up. You can find the sign up link. Just click on the link, and it almost happens magically. Just a little bit of work, and you too will receive the No Agenda newsletter. It's just great. And looking,
we did have a disgruntled newsletter recipient who didn't really unsubscribe, but he says he stopped listening to the show because he doesn't. He says we do a great job of deconstructing, but we should have sponsors.
What?
Yeah, that's what he said. He went on and on about it. And he says, you guys should be like a real show and have sponsors. That's what he said.
Sponsors.
Yeah, he said we should be sponsors so we don't have to keep asking for money from him because he feels guilty by not giving money. Yeah. And so he stopped listening to the show because he doesn't like feeling guilty, I guess. I thought that was screwy.
So sponsors like
okay, I dropped
Archer Daniel Midlands and Monsanto and Boeing, and like kind of like PBS and NPR, so we can do real objective reporting about our sponsors.
Oh, and then while you're talking about that, I do have one little clip I want to play.
I do need to finish up the donation segment. So,
but this is okay.
Am I waiting or are we doing?
I think we should do it because it's part of the... Okay, no. It will be better if we wait.
Dvorak.org/NA. Thank you very much to all execs and associate execs. Everyone else can still be out there propagating the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Amen. Fist bump.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave. Shut up. Okay.
This is just a little aside. Mm-hmm. This is the beginning of the News Hour clip that I have. This is the last, like yesterday's show, I think. Beginning of News Hour. Bad sign.
Viewers like you. Thank you.
Wall Street broke out of a week-long slump today amid hopes for a break in the Greek bailout drama.
Now, I don't remember NewsHour ever leading
with the Greek thing.
I'm sure they've done it, but I don't remember them leading with stock market news. This is a bad sign, people.
Yeah,
bad sign.
Yeah, that's almost like a locust.
Bad sign.
I was reading something, and I don't know if you discussed it on DH Unplugged. Where was this from? I hope it's not Zero Hedge. No, it's not.
Zero.
When Zero Hedge is, there's
it's like natural news. That's another slide. There we go.
From Health Ranger Mike. That's right. Who was this guy?
Get it through your head. I know. Do you understand? I know you better than you do. I know.
Oh, geez.
Seed Man rocks.
Who is getting these clips?
Everybody. Everybody.
No, we're not.
Well, they send them to us.
I know, but I mean, we're not.
So the way this article, which is not from Zero Hedge, but is so-called insider news, there is some question as to the charts they're looking at. There's a lot of technicals and a lot of technical analysis in this particular article, but they tie the way the charts are running into the resignation of the two co-CEOs of Deutsche Bank, who resigned 9 months before their contract was up. And I know from my New York ex-New York banker friend, that it was already strange. The co-CEO thing was really weird to start off with at Deutsche. But they resigned, and this article that will be in the show notes says that there may have been some kind of derivative bomb that went off behind the scenes.
Oh.
And Deutsche is reported to have a $73 trillion derivatives book. Now, I'm pretty sure I sent the article to my ex-banker friend. He hasn't responded yet. I'm pretty sure he's going to say, bull crap, but...
He probably is.
Yeah. Well, he usually says more. He usually tries to explain why. But it does warrant some attention, and particularly in light of this, where we have this is the lead story. Was it the News Hour?
Yeah. News Hour.
What do you think? Well, what do you think? You guys do.
Well, it's a sign that this kind of thing happens before crashes,
right?
Where all of a sudden it becomes front of the news. So I don't think they've gotten enough excitement the public in general has to start investing like crazy, usually before a real stock market crash. But there could be a technical one that could be a problem. But this should not be at the top of the news. This is not the top news item.
Or is it? Or is it? You don't. Or is it?
It's not ever.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't be.
Well, Greece is down to the wire. I mean,
yeah, but how long? This has been the last 2 years.
I know.
This is like, if we don't do something about climate change by Tuesday, it would be on the point no return. How often have we heard that for the last 5 years?
Yeah, we've
constantly.
Heard a lot. Yeah, we've heard it a lot for sure. But there's some other strange financial news. South Korea. Now we haven't discussed it on the show, but there's been this ongoing MERS, outbreak, and everyone's freaking out. But it doesn't seem to be that many people in South Korea. But okay,
I didn't hear about it until last Tuesday when Horowitz told me that he's going to China and he's concerned about this because he has to take a connection back through every MERS hotspot.
Well, the South Korean central bank cut their key interest rate to a record low because of the MERS outbreak. The cut aims to ease negative impact from MERS. What is MERS, John? Is this what kind of viral thing?
Remember, you remember this is the Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome. It's the thing that the guy had it in Saudi Arabia. He went to England, coughed up some blood, and the next thing you know, MERS is a thing.
Well, maybe Ebola was too tired and they couldn't make it happen over there.
Well,
the cut aims to ease negative. This is from Bloomberg. Aims to ease negative impact from MERS and prevent consumer sentiment and production from freezing up. What are they expecting?
Panic. People not going to malls. You have to remember that in Asia, malls are like they make. Deal, I don't care what mall you've ever been to in the United States. Multiply it by a factor of 10, and you have an Asian mall.
I would love to go to
They
South
are
Korea.
huge. In fact, Korea is a good example. They have these giant department stores. That the malls are mostly in China, but in Korea, there's these giant department stores like the Lotto or whatever it's called, and there's a couple other ones. Hyundai, I think, has one. Mm-hmm. And they make Macy's New York, which is a substantial store, look like a cocaine or heroin shooting gallery. It's just it's 10 times the size. Well, not really, but 5 times the size of the Macy's. They have a whole floor that's a grocery store, a whole floor that's this, and a whole floor that's that. It's quite a thing. It's a tourist attraction.
I'd love to go. I'm sure Don can hook me up with all kinds of cool people.
Yeah, I'm sure he would.
Well, we'll have to see what happens with the fun. But we've been kind of expecting this. And Greece, the problem I'm seeing with Greece, I think what we'll see next is there'll be taxes on breathing. You want 4 wheels on your car now. There's going to be an extra tax. I don't know if they can rape the citizens of Greece any more than they are already.
I got a kick out of Max Kaiser. Because they were talking about the Greeks, and he comes up and says this.
Okay, this is what happens when you scapegoat a population, steal all their money, and start putting them into camps, and then exterminate them.
Just out of the blue.
Good plan. Exterminate them. Oh, well, that reminds me. Bilderberg is about to go into session.
Oh,
your favorite drinking club.
They're bringing in cases of champagne as we speak. Dom Perignon, I'm sure.
And let's see, the Dutch Prime Minister is invited, Rutte, so he will be going. And of course, that will keep our eye on him.
Eric Schmidt from Google.
Eric Schmidt from Google is going, right? Exactly. Yeah. And we have the agenda is going to be cybersecurity. What else was there? Cybersecurity, of course, climate change has to be on there. And when the Bilderbergers come to town, actually, here's the press release. Hold on, let me tell you who's going to be here. Artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, chemical weapons threats, current economic issues, European strategy, globalization, Greece, Iran, Middle East, NATO, Russia, terrorism.
Too many topics.
Blah, blah, blah. Squirrel! But who's really excited about this? There's only one guy in broadcast history who was the man when it comes to Bilderberg.
Oh, yeah.
The seed man.
Yeah, the seed man. He's
You're
all
not
over.
welcome when the leader, when the Führers come to town. Gruppenführer is in town. You, the little scum, do not come show it. It's done in secret. Project of Adolf Hitler. Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer.
Oh, jeez.
He's a gem. He's a national treasure, I tell you.
He is. The more you play these crazy clips that are sent from others, listen, we try to avoid these sort of things. We got time. There's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
I have to say that some of these are just dynamite.
And I think we
entertaining. I can see why people listen.
Yeah,
to
I think we get the benefit of his art by playing some of his more colorful clips.
Yeah,
he'll be out there with the bullhorn. Finally, we got a little bit of news about Gitmo Nation East. The United Kingdoms are looking to implement some new legislation to stop terrorism. We played many clips of that with Theresa May, who is arguably the Department of Homeland Security Secretary of State, not State, but Secretary Interior person, who will be and she could not answer the question as to what is what extremist views are and how you will or what you will or will not be allowed to say or put on social media. And, of course, we need strong cyber laws, and we need to be able to read everyone's email, and Twitter has to hand over information, which is a point of contention and is being debated now. Unfortunately, it's not going to go into effect soon, not this year, which I find sad because, we need to fill 3 hours. The more I can get from this crazy crap they're doing over there, the better. But here's Theresa setting it up for us.
The operation and regulation of the investigatory powers used by the police and the intelligence and security agencies is a matter of great importance to the security of this country, and I know an issue of great interest to many members of this House. As David Anderson makes clear, it is imperative that the use of sensitive powers are all overseen and fully declared under arrangements set by Parliament. It is therefore entirely right that Parliament should have the opportunity to debate those arrangements in full.
Ooh.
The Anderson Review was undertaken with cross-party support, and I believe it provides a sound basis to take this issue forward in the same manner. In order to ensure that this is the case, the Government will publish a draft bill in the autumn for pre-legislative scrutiny by a joint committee of Parliament, with the intention of introducing a bill early in the new year. Given the sunset clause in the Data Retention and Investigatory Powers Act 2014, the new legislation will need to be in place by the end of December 2016. I've said many times...
What?
If you took this woman and slowed her down and put a bed under her...
We've already done this.
With the music. With this woman?
I think we did it with her, yeah. Well, we've done it with...
She's really good on this little thing.
Yeah, I didn't have time to do this one, but let me see, I have... I can actually mix two of them. We'll finish the regular, and then I will post-produce this, but I have to cut it down a little bit because who cares about some stuff?
Before, that it is not possible to debate the balance between privacy and security, including the rights and wrongs of intrusive powers and the oversight arrangements that govern them, without also considering the threats that we face as a country. Those threats remain considerable, and they are evolving. They include not just terrorism from overseas and homegrown in the UK.
Did she say they're revolting?
Revolving.
Oh, revolving.
But also industrial, military and state espionage. They include not just organised criminality, but also the proliferation of once physical crimes online, such as child sexual exploitation, and the technological challenges that brings. In the face of such threats, we have a duty to ensure that the agencies whose job it is to keep us safe have the powers they need to do the job.
This legislation is important. The substance is right, the time is right, and the way in which it has been developed is right. It is a properly considered, thought-through set of proposals that will help to keep us safe at a time of very significant danger. It has been drawn up in close consultation with the police and security services. In an open and free society like ours, we can never entirely eliminate the threat from terrorism, but we must do everything possible, consistent with our values as a country, to reduce the risk presented by our enemies. It is a struggle that will go on for many years, and the threat we face right now is perhaps greater than it ever has been.
And we must have the powers we need to defend ourselves.
There you go.
To the gate, to the climate gate.
Yep. So that's what's going on over in the
Well, what's going on over here is there's a big debate over or attempts to use social media to fight ISIS. So let's play ISIS anti-propaganda fail.
At least 180 Americans are fighting for ISIS, lured by its propaganda machine. This war is being fought online as much as on the battlefield. But tonight, the man who was in charge of America's online assault on the ISIS message says that effort is failing. Margaret Brennan got the interview.
Alberto Fernandez left his job running the State Department's counter-messaging campaign against ISIS.
Ooh, counter-messaging campaign. Like it.
Last month.
Wait, since you interrupted the clip, I think you should go, you open your browser and go to Twitter. And the counter-messaging...
is it hashtag?
No, it's actually a website. It's actually a Twitter account with a whopping 21,000 followers.
What is it? Counter?
No.
What do you call it?
@
Yeah.
Think again.
Oh, man.
Underline.
Yep.
DOS. Now, I thought when I first saw Think Again DOS, I said, well, this is some Windows initiative because some people are still
Bring back the command
DOS.
line.
They're using DOS or Think Again because DOS is better. But no, that means Department of State. That's very, memorable. Think Again, underline.
Oh, yeah, I remember that immediately.
Yeah, and so there it is.
There's your techno experts with their great Twitter handles.
This is the techno expert. And their actual name is Think Again, Turn Away.
Oh, man. This is so stupid. Gay men or men perceived to be gay face grave danger in ISIS-controlled territories. # ISIS.
Yeah.
Mother of Canadian man killed for fighting ISIS has founds.
Has founds. They need a copy editor.
Let me ask you a question about this founds word.
Founds.
Jeez. This is the best we can do?
Yeah. Well, that's why this guy quit, so let's listen to him complain.
Alberto Fernandez left his job running the State Department's counter-messaging campaign against ISIS last month. He said the administration's approach was not aggressive enough.
So do you think, then, that ISIS is winning the propaganda war?
It's not that ISIS is so great. It's that the response against ISIS is both limited and weak.
His staff of 50 struggled to compete against ISIS's online army, which posts videos and messages from around 90,000 Twitter accounts.
There's a fantasy which exists in Washington, which is this, that somehow if you put magic social media or public diplomacy pixie dust on a problem, it will go away.
To stop ISIS, he says, the administration must understand its appeal.
ISIS is psychopathic, but that doesn't mean that the people that are attracted to it for the sick, perverse reasons. One of the challenges we face is that people are attracted to it for what we would call noble reasons.
Noble reasons?
Yes. What we would think of building things, rescuing people, doing something that is larger than yourself.
Man.
So the way it sounds to me, he has or had 50 people, which is a lot. If I had a team of 50 and I wanted to attack the social media, I'd have nothing but fun. So there's probably a dozen people, maybe all 50 working on this stupid site. And they're posting, let's see, they're posting, here's 2 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago. So they're posting quite a bit on here. Except they haven't posted for 2 hours. So what time? Oh, wait a minute. That's because let's see. In Washington D.C., lunchtime is at 12. So the time we're doing this show is right during the break, and they just probably came off lunch break. So we got 3 new tweets. 11. Okay, so they're back from lunch. It's obvious. You can see by the times.
Yeah,
they're back from lunch, and now
Nigeria suicide bombers faked fight to attract onlookers. 31 people killed. Boko Haram. # Boko Haram. If I click on that, is there a whole bunch of Boko Haram hashtag usage, or are they just making it? No.
There should be a bunch.
There's a couple, yeah.
Couple.
Someone sent us a note with a picture, which I thought was really important to bring up about the ISIS, ISIL, IS advertising, whatever you want to call it, fighters, and how most of them are untrained nincompoops. And when they take pictures of them, you see, and those are the brown ones. You can see the brown face through the
mask.
What is it called?
Wraparound.
Balaclava?
It's a Mexican wraparound.
Yeah, Mexican wraparound.
That's something else. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Okie dokie, everybody.
In the morning.
These guys always have their finger on the trigger continuously. They're waving their guns around. But when it's the fake guys, our guys, or Z or Blackwater, or whoever else has been contracted to do this, usually they're white guys. You can see the white around their, the faces through
their white fingers.
Through the white fingers. And they are all trained professionals. And they are holding the weapon correctly with the index finger, the trigger finger, along the trigger guard and not on the trigger itself. And this is something
holding it straight out. They're pointing with their finger.
Yeah, we need to keep an eye on this.
I went and to the image search and looked up terrorists. Mm-hmm. And I looked at, and there's more than just this example.
You're about to get a knock on the door with that search, okay?
Terrorist images. No, you think? So I looked up terrorists and images, and I looked at all the pictures, and there's like there's more examples of the professionals than you'd think.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of these pictures are staged, and I think it's more than just a few. Let's put it that way. He spotted that. We never noticed it before, but when you start looking intensely, you see it a lot because there's a lot of and they just look. The whole thing looks. There's one where they're all in the proper position with the finger, and they're lined up perfectly in a long.
I would like all of our producers to be on the lookout, for news stories, and then look at the images. Let's see if we could see who's who and then what news stories are associated, and we'll be able to track it very well, I think.
Yeah.
I got a note from one of our producers, anonymous Adam Dash, of course, is Arabic for ISIS. Got that. As a contractor over here in the sandbox, I can tell you for a fact that we have transported boots on the ground all over to, quote, consult on both the Yemen border and the northern Iraqi border. And he was sending that from a computer in the desert. This is not reported at all.
No, it's not. Why would it be?
At all. It does flow into this question about the so-called strategy for the training of the Iraqi troops. And I am uniquely qualified to discuss this topic. As in 2003, 2004, I was in Iraq with the Dutch Marines. It was a relatively quiet period at the time. I was in Samawa province, which is south of Baghdad, north of Basra, kind of in the middle there on the western side. But we were taken to a different town or to meet different tribal leaders almost every single day. I was doing a radio show for the Dutch radio. Right after the show, they take us out. There's even a video of me somewhere getting my beard trimmed with the strings. With that crazy where they put the barber has the strings between his fingers and they go and the strings are crossed and it's pretty much just pulling the hairs out.
Braiding.
What's that called?
Nothing. I don't know what braiding. It's called. Go keep going.
But we also went to a training camp, as you recall. We were training the Iraqi security force. We were training them to take care of themselves. So I would like
training them.
The United States, don't be a dick. The United States was training them.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to put a link to the documentary. There's a 30-minute documentary about that. You can see some of this, and you'll crap your pants when you see this training.
Well, okay, go on.
No,
but
go ahead.
Now that you bring this up, I was kind of putting this off as maybe a catch-all at the end of the show or something, but I have a melodrama that I've produced about the situation currently going on, which is they sent 450 people, so this is breaking news, right?
Shall I just play a little background? I'll just play a little background, and then we'll go into your melodrama?
Yeah, go do your finish.
So here's the president, what he said.
We've also seen areas like in Ramadi where they're displaced in one place and then they come back in another. And they're nimble, and they're aggressive, and they're opportunistic. So one of the areas where we're going to have to improve is the speed at which we're training Iraqi forces.
I got to say it right now. I went to see the training, and we were the media. And this was a little show, and it was well known, and we had censors who really did nothing.
Let me add to that. They were on their absolute best behavior for you.
Yes. And you know, because we're media, and we were doing blog posts and pictures that we talk about on the show, and we had the censors gave up on us pretty soon. They had this is before techno experts, and we were like, well, what? We had our own internet connection, so they couldn't do anything to us. But yes, on their best behavior, best show ever. And for those of you who are not familiar with the television show Dad's Army, you must look this up on YouTube. And so you have all these guys in a row, and they have their AK-47s. What's going on here? What is happening? I hear. Oh.
Yes?
I don't know. Someone's calling me. Someone who doesn't care about the show, clearly. On their best behavior.
Or does.
So they're all lined up in a row. And then the command is issue about face. I swear to God, half of them turned right, the other half turned left.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I told the story before, but none of it's a surprise.
No. And these guys, they can't shoot for shit. What? These were the highly trained forces that we, as SFIR, Security Forces Iraq, something or other, they had been trained to protect the country. It was a farce. It was completely embarrassing. I will put a link in the show notes to Operation Iraqi Sunrise, which was what we called the radio show during that week. And you can see it. You can see this training camp. It is hilarious. All right, so the president comes. Yeah, this was misrepresented in the media, I found, certainly by Fox News. Oh, we have no strategy for ISIS. Now, that's not exactly what the president said.
Where we've trained Iraqi forces directly and equipped them, and we have a train and assist posture, they operate effectively.
Train and assist. Lies.
Where we haven't, morale, lack of equipment, et cetera, may undermine the effectiveness of Iraqi security forces. So we want to get more Iraqi security forces trained, fresh, well-equipped, and focused. And President Abadi wants the same thing. So we're reviewing a range of plans for how we might do that, essentially accelerating the number of,
he said essentially,
Iraqi forces that are properly trained and equipped and have a focused strategy and good leadership. And when a finalized plan is presented to me by the Pentagon, then I will share it with the American people. It's not, we don't.
Well, here's the payoff.
Yet have a complete strategy, because it requires commitments on the part of the Iraqis as well about how recruitment takes place, how that training takes place. And so the details of that are not yet worked out.
Not yet worked out. Everyone went batshit over this. Oh, we have no strategy. We don't know what to do.
It was only the Republicans that went batshit.
No. Here's CNN. Are they Republicans at CNN?
Absolutely not.
For being with us right now. Fareed, I don't know what's...
They brought out Fareed Zakaria to explain the confusion.
More notable that the U.S. does...
Because he's the president's friend. They drink all the time together, root beer or whatever they do. Yeah, he was flown in to this other program for CNN because he's got the message.
The U.S. doesn't have a strategy or a complete strategy to train Iraqi forces to battle ISIS in Iraq, or that the president used those words. Again, no complete strategy, because this is something he was roundly criticized for way back in September. We are all these months later, and there's still no strategy?
I think that the problem is that we think of this as a technocratic problem.
This is very interesting. He says technocratic problem, which that's a political term, is it not?
I don't know what it is. I've never heard anyone say technocratic problem.
Well, in the EU, they talk about technocrats who are running the EU, and
it's like the postmodern version of a bureaucrat.
Right. So he says a technocratic problem. I translate that to a political problem.
Problem is this. We think of this as a technocratic problem. Why can't we train these troops faster? Why can't we get them more arms? Why can't we, ramp up their readiness?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because they don't care. They don't want to do it. They're forced into these camps to train. They don't understand anything. They don't want to die. How about this?
It's like the Keystone Cops.
About face.
The problem is political.
I can just see him going every which way. The legs going up and down, not standing in place.
And I think on the video there's also
holding a wooden gun.
Yes. I think there's also a present arms piece in that video where
a couple of guns go out of their hands and go flying. One shoots.
The problem is political. The Iraqi army represents a government that is seen as a Shiite government by the Sunnis. Remember, the Sunnis are the...
Now, this is interesting.
Hold on a second. This is interesting for a reason that you don't know.
Well, okay.
And you might as well play it, but I don't have it. I mean, because my little melodrama, I've got, it's a lot, it's long, it's 9 clips with interludes between each one. But I had this clip, what he's about to say, I'm sure it's word for word, what one of these guys said in the melodrama, and it was either, I think it was General Zini who said it, but it was, okay, play.
The Iraqi army represents a government that is seen as a Shiite government by the Sunnis. Remember, the Sunnis are the guys that ISIS draws its recruits from. So if you don't change the composition of the army, if you don't change if you don't make concessions to the Sunnis, bring them into the government, then you're building up what is going to be seen by the Sunnis as a Shiite army. So the fact that you're training them and equipping them, all great, but when they go in there, the Sunnis are going to say, we prefer ISIS to this.
Yeah,
and that's what's been happening for the last year or two.
But but right away, I'm sure President Obama even knew himself that
shut up, stupid idiot. Jeez. What you miss is that what you miss, though, because we stepped on it, he says the Shiite-Sunni issue is a political problem. No, that's a religious problem.
Well, that has been debated since the beginning of this whole affair, since 2003.
I will finish with a 18-second clip, 30-second clip from Josh Earnest, then we'll go into your melodrama. Here's Josh from the podium talking about the training.
Training, advising, and assist operations will bolster the capacity of both the Iraqi security forces as well as the Sunni tribal fighters in Anbar that are operating under the command and control of the Iraqi central government. And that will further our strategy to assist the Iraqis as they take the fight to ISIL on the ground in their own country. And we can support them by, through these missions that the president has authorized. We can also support them with military air power. But ultimately, it will not be the responsibility of the U.S. military to go in and do for the Iraqis what they must do for themselves.
So here's what I'm hearing, and then I'll be done. First of all, we know from Agent Orange, our man on the scene, he's been in Iraq, he's in Kandahar, he's all over the place. We have a direct line of communication with him. It's part of what he does. He's definitely our handler, but that's okay. He's all pro-military, anti-politics, I kind of would surmise. That we have the so-called advisors or consultants. The way it works is they're complete warriors, and they're just saying, hey, watch how I do this, to these guys who can't even figure out what about face is. And now we're going to have air support. In order to use air support effectively, you have to have people on the ground, boots on the ground, painting the target. So the way I see it is we're just training these guys to go in there and with like an antenna on their head so that we can just take everything out, including them probably.
Well, I think there's an element of that, and I think that's what you're going to be told. But I have there's a story behind. There's something else going on, and this was a presentation on PBS NewsHour, which I've reduced to about 4 or 5 minutes.
This is big for you. Yeah, you've done a lot of work here. I can say
it's long, but I cut out these guys going back and forth. And first, let's introduce the players. Play clip melodrama. The players.
Okay.
I have most of these numbers.
When you do these,
I didn't go back. I said, here's what happened. I'm going to tell you. I started taking these clips. I said, well, that'll be 3 or 4. And then I said, oh, crap. And there's another and another and another. And I ended up with 9 clips, but the first 3 didn't get numbered.
Just for future sake, when you do this, which I like a lot when you do this, so you have, they're all named melodrama, but if you can do melodrama -1, -2, before you get to the description of what it is.
I'd like to do that.
Yes. Okay.
Joining me now to review today's announcement and the fight against the Islamic State, our former U.S. Defense Secretary and CIA Director Leon Panetta. former Commander-in-Chief of U.S. Central Command, retired General Anthony Zinni, former Undersecretary of Policy at the Department of Defense, Michelle Flournoy, and retired U.S. Army Colonel Andrew Bacevich.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the team from Project Pundit.
Now, this thing went on for a good half hour. It seemed like it. It probably was 20 minutes. It was very long. But this Bacevich guy, the colonel, I was thinking, well, everybody's a general or something, and the woman's an undersecretary of state. She didn't really have much to contribute except a kind of a bunch of cliches. But this colonel, I was thinking, why did this guy make general? He's got a bunch of books out. He's the most ornery guy.
What's his name again? Ziti?
Zinni is the general who used to be CENTCOM.
Yes, Central Command.
This guy, Bacevich, is a colonel, and I was thinking, I believe there's a lot of colonels, because you get these guys that they never could make general because they were troublemakers from the get-go, and they wouldn't play the game. And he is the one guy in this group that is not playing the game. That apparently, if you listen to this, Panetta is still playing. He's still on somebody's payroll.
Well, he has the Panetta Group. He has a big consultancy.
Well, he's also, right. I'm sure he's getting direct money from the government because he is government. He is the government spokeshole here, telling us the litany of what's going on. And he reveals, I think, in this little presentation near the end, what's really this is all about. What's the big scandal about 425 advisors? Let's play. Here's where the colonel jumps in.
Well, I think it's a very modest adjustment to the existing policy, and the emphasis here is on very modest. The policy is based on the assumption that we have the capability to create effective Iraqi forces. Now, when you think about it, we've been trying to do that for 10 years now. We've not succeeded.
No.
And I'm a little bit skeptical that the addition of 450 trainers is going to make that much of a difference. I'm sure that they'll be able to transfer some important skills to the people that they train, but will they be able to transfer the will to fight, which would seem to be the fundamental problem with the Iraqi forces that have basically been taking a licking from ISIS?
Company about face.
So Zinni jumps in, and he kind of agrees with the colonel. And while he's talking, and this is long, these are like little clips amongst the longer speech. While he's doing this, Panetta is getting steamed up. The general chimes in.
Okay.
Well, I think it's an indication that we continue to underestimate the capability of ISIS, the enemy, and overestimate the capabilities of the Iraqi military to deal with this. The strategy from the beginning has had several flaws, in my view.
Yeah, the guys don't want to do it.
Several flaws from the beginning. Who's sitting there that has something to do with those flaws?
Yeah,
Panetta.
Him.
Well, him too. Yeah. But Panetta is the one these are all aimed at.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, Panetta's really pissed off by the end of this. And they, I cut all these out, but at the beginning of most of these little spiels back and forth between these people, they started with, and Woodruff jokes about it at the end, they all started with all due respect.
Oh, yeah. I respectfully disagree. You got to help me, man, because I don't know what you want me to play.
Now we go to Panetta comes in and with his first bunch of bullshit. This is melodrama. Panetta gets hackles up for.
Why shouldn't Americans be concerned that if the Iraqis don't have the will to fight, why should more U.S. trainers make a difference?
This isn't just about Iraq.
Oh, man. He's pissed off here. I can hear it.
This is about a threat to our national security. If ISIS is allowed to have a base of operations in Iraq, make no mistake about it, their intentions are to use that as a base of attacking our country and attacking our homeland. That's why we've got to push the Iraqis to make sure that the Sunnis do engage and that they're armed and that the Kurds do the same.
Wait a minute. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did he just say that Dad's army, those jabronis...
The guys in the Hilux Toyotas...
No, the jabronis who are supposed to are being trained, that they're directly responsible for protecting the homeland?
Yeah, they said that too. But my thinking was still the funniest part is that the whole ISIS thing is to come after us.
with their Toyotas.
He reiterates that actually in a better way further on with the melodrama. But this is like, in what? In their F-15s, in their battleships? How are they going to get over here? Okay, so let's go. The next one is clip.
I love it when you do the Toyotas on floats.
Toyotas on floats. Melodrama Colonel. The Colonel now has got his hackles up after Panetta just kind of attacked him because he talked longer and he was really attacking this Colonel, the book writer.
Right.
And so here we go.
Strikes Back.
Yeah, this is a Colonel Retort 5.
I think Secretary Panetta is vastly exaggerating the threat posed by ISIS. The threat posed by ISIS to the United States of America is actually very, very limited. We probably should be worrying more about drug lords in Mexico in terms of a direct threat to our safety.
Get him off the air. Get him off the air.
So he's not putting up with Panetta.
No.
So now we have Panetta clip 6. Panetta's coming back.
Well, look, again, I don't think there's any question that our national security interests are involved here. Otherwise, why would we even be there in the first place?
Yeah. Oh, let me think. Turf, resources, hookers, it's always the same.
The reality is that we know how to do this without deploying the 101st Airborne or a large number of brigades there. I mean, the fact is we're good at counterterrorism. That's what we did in Iraq before we left. That's what we did in Afghanistan.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Well, that's what the Colonel does. Now, we're going to skip clip 7 because that's the meaningful clip that I'm going to save to the end.
Okay.
And go to 8, which is the melodrama Colonel Strikes Back. He starts his retort with a laugh based on
what
Panetta going on and on about how great we are.
Why isn't that the right way to move forward now?
Again, with all due respect, we don't know how to do this. I mean, we were the U.S. military was in Iraq from 2003 and 2011. 4 years later, we have this basket case on our hands. So the notion, I think it's important for us to recognize that there are some problems that American military might cannot solve.
This is how Vietnam started.
In fact, Zinni, I don't have the clip because, again, this was a half an hour of these. Zinni says this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, General Zinni says, this is how Vietnam started. We sent in some advisors. We sent in some more advisors. We sent some feet in the ground. Next thing you know, we're in this stupid war that we can't get out of. So he says the same thing. Panetta's not putting up with any of it because he's got the government, the line of bullcrap that he has to deliver. So this is the clip 9. This is melodrama Panetta Strikes Back.
You know, we've learned time and time again, particularly in these last few years, with crisis after crisis, that if the United States doesn't provide leadership in these crises, nobody else will. I don't know who the hell he expects we're going to be able to turn to be able to protect our national security in this situation. The United States is going to have to provide that leadership. And yes, we need to work with the Iraqis. And yes, we need to work with other allies in the region. But we have to provide that leadership. We can't just stand on the sidelines wringing our hands. I mean, ask the people of Paris what happened there with ISIS. Ask the people in Brussels what happened there with ISIS. What happened in Toronto? What's happened in this country as a result of the threat from ISIS? This is a national security threat, and we shouldn't kid ourselves about that.
Douchebag.
Damn.
Good call on the douchebag. Now, within the whole range of things he was saying, this clip 7, melodrama shorty clip, most meaningful. This, when he said this is Panetta again. I said, this is what this is really about. Let's go back to this old scheme.
In order to move ISIS out of Iraq and then take on ISIS in Syria. This has got to be part of that larger strategy.
And that's what it's been about all along, to have a reason to go and take Syria, take Assad out.
That we didn't do. That I guess it was talked out of. Obama was talked out of the bombing we're supposed to do.
Yeah, the red line.
Yes, because of the red line and all that. They just can't get this out of their craw because there is still Russia and
Iran,
Syria. We got to get them out of there for some reason because of some pipeline coming through.
Yeah.
But that's what this whole thing is huge. It's like that's why I called it a melodrama. It is a bunch of bull crap. This is all about finding some way to still get Bashir out of there. Assad.
Good job, John. Let me celebrate this work you did.
Yeah, there we go.
Excellent work. Excellent. Yeah. Who was the colonel again?
That was Colonel. His name was Basevich.
Basevich.
And he's got some books saying that we suck or something.
Yeah, he should not get into a hot tub that has a lid.
He was definitely not playing by
that's probably not a great idea.
The rules of the game.
Wow.
And then it was just getting more red as the thing went on.
Yeah,
he felt it was a personal attack on him or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, his whole Panetta.
It's a personal attack on him.
I think he has the Panetta Institute. I think is what it's called.
Yeah, the Panetta Institute.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of. He's heavily invested in the game. Did you see the Ayatollah Khomeini speak?
No. Well, I have.
I don't understand. I know that we're working on this deal with Iran and the nuclear deal. And the Ayatollah came out and did a little speech, and I have an on-the-fly translated version, which I believe to be the translation that was made in real time, and where some dignitaries who were sitting in the audience. It was a whole video thing in this beautiful room, or it's not even a room. It was like a big stadium, and it had one of those Mecca blocks in the middle. It's pretty stuff they got.
Had a Mecca block in the middle?
Yeah, of this huge auditorium. Kind of like, well, yeah, I'll have to look up what it is.
There's a name for that thing.
Yeah, the Mecca block. Mecca from the block. Here is the translated version of what he was saying.
Well, today, both the ISIL, Al-Qaeda, and the like are being supported by the U.S. and Israel, as well as some of the famous Islamic, some of the movements that are known as Islamic, but they are miles away from Islamic ideology and jurisprudence. You can identify and get to know about world affairs and try to comprehend and identify the right stance. Now, the same way we see these savage and brutal acts of the ISIL, the same way we oppose it, and both in Iraq and Syria, we oppose the brutal acts of the U.S. federal police inside the U.S. They're both similar to each other. The slogan of Death to America.
Death to America. So that was cool. He says the ISIS and Al-Qaeda are run by America and Israel, and they're just as brutal as the federal police in America against their own citizens. Yeah, I'll give him
a good one.
Amen. Fist bump.
I'll give him an amen fist bump for that.
Yeah. There's a lot of evidence to show he's right.
Oh, my goodness.
Huh. Yeah, well, they got a clue. We said, because there's been plenty of people that have testified that the CIA started this whole thing. And
we have the document. We have the document. It was the whole strategy.
Where they proposed. That was the proposal document. That was the RFP.
Yes, the RFP.
That proposed it. It
Request
was
for
in 2011.
Yes. What can we do? What can we do?
And they even named it the Islamic State in the document, and that document was released by Freedom of Information Act, and it shows that we were at least talking about doing this, and we did it. And the other thing that's noteworthy, and you've pointed this out, is that why aren't they why aren't they all anti-Israel?
Oh, you mean why aren't there attacks by ISIS and ISIL and Al Qaeda in Israel?
Yeah,
baffling.
Yeah, it's a stunner.
It's completely baffling. Oh, good work on that, John. I like that a lot. That's something we should pull out and keep for later, for posterity's sake.
So we're ready to leave the Middle East?
Yes.
I have a note that came in from our economic hitman.
He lives.
He does live. He must have broken up with his Russian girlfriend.
Yeah, who was pissed at him.
State Department's security, whatever.
Yeah. She must have been hot.
Russian, let's see,
yes.
Russian spy, hot?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. They have that theory. Of course, our spies aren't bad looking generally, at least some of them. Today, so it goes on about having a lunch. I can tell you that the U.S. This is the only note. The rest of it was just personal. He's talking about watching Mr. Robot. I can tell you that the USA is pouring money into Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad, but not as much in Chad, and other neighboring states to forestall Boko Haram ISIS growth.
Oh.
They are doing some of it through USAID contracts rather than direct military subsidies, because they know that Nigeria will just absorb the money without much result. So it is, I guess, even with the new guy. So it is feet on the ground by government contractors and not the usual NGO types.
Oh, that means trouble.
Yes, instead they're bringing in the security types with short hair and serious attitudes.
Ooh.
You know, the jackals.
The jackals. Yeah, the jackals, the Z guys, Blackwater, those guys.
I'm happy to be in Burma on my trips over my trips.
No, very important, John. Notice he says Burma. CIA and all the guys who are really on the inside, they say Burma. I got this from Uncle Don versus Myanmar.
Oh, it's funny. I'm sure he did
and they're really anal about that.
Yeah, well, he says Burma. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I'm sure he was not aware of that. That was probably a mistake, but he did it.
Uh-huh.
On my trips over Western Africa, he says he's happy to be in Burma over any trips over Western Africa anytime because it's better. Unfortunately, I must go or send someone in my place. So someone in his group, whatever group it is, has to go back to Western Africa. So he's probably going to have to go back.
Yeah. Is he not afraid of Ebola?
No, I don't think he's commented on Ebola, but he doesn't seem afraid of Ebola. It's bull crap. Anyway, so there you go. That's our African update. No other show in the world will give you this sort of information.
I think you're right. We are pretty much... Yeah, we're the only people that do this thing, as far as I know. If there's another show out there, I'd love to know so that we can listen to it and get some good ideas.
The only good phone's a landline, and the phone should be made out of Bakelite.
Yes, everybody, it's time once again for Tech News! Tech News! All the tech hornies are doing their thing, and we bring you real tech news here on the best podcast in the universe because we are uniquely qualified.
I have a tech news story.
All right. You may start off the tech news segment.
Okay, so its clip is Apple Music illegal.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Apple Music, the streaming service that the company announced this week is facing scrutiny in New York and Connecticut. Well, the attorneys general of those states are now investigating the negotiations Apple made with music companies while developing the service to look for signs of potential antitrust violations.
All right. Nice read, lady.
Your analysis, John.
Well, New York and Connecticut have always been the two states with the strong, they have the strong attorney general that just goes after everybody for anything. You look at them cross-eyed and they'll sue. And they are the ones who do a lot of these initial things, like when they busted up, or they didn't bust them up, but when they went after Microsoft. I think it stems from the Connecticut thing. And then other people join in later if they make headway because they're given a green light within their own state. And I think that probably they'll find something, because I don't think Apple is, this is not good for anybody. I don't know who it's good for except Apple.
I got a lot of responses about, this is from directly from the Apple Worldwide Developers Conference keynote, which, man, I miss Steve.
Well, the other thing is that this style, I think we talked about this, or Horowitz and I talked about it, which is the problem. This style of presentation is 1980s. This is a 30-year-old style of presentation.
Yeah.
Dark room, stupid music, come out in black. You like a church, a bunch of shills in the audience.
It's like a church, man. It's a cult.
It's very much like a church. And I've always thought that when it's done properly, very church-like, which means a lot of solemnity.
Well, there's some problems just sneaking into it. And I thought up until they announced the music thing, it wasn't too bad. But they bring, I like the women they're bringing up, but I don't think they're particularly good presenters.
Was dreadfully dull.
Yeah. Something that I think is a very bad precedent, they should stop immediately, is making Eddie Q the funny guy in all the presentations. Look, there's Eddie with a hat. Look, there's Eddie doing karaoke. Look,
I don't get the genesis of this.
Oh, Eddie was Steve's guy. When I met Steve Jobs for that private meeting.
Oh, is this the guy who expected to take over the company?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, so they're just humiliating him?
That's what it seems like.
Wow.
But Eddie is in the certainly because he ran iTunes previously, and then he ran the App Store. Now he runs everything except being CEO. He has some kind of magical powers, but he is in the music business. People suck Eddie off because he makes the deals. So here's what I understand is going on. Apple has been an all-out assault against Spotify, of course, and they bought Beats as a part of that for their radio thing, which is, it's not radio when you have a playlist. It's not radio. It's just a playlist. Okay, it's not radio. This is part of a larger strategy, which I think is an interesting one and in some part probably a very good one. Apple is going directly to the artists. The difference in money you make through the Apple ecosystem as an artist is tremendous. We're talking 30 to 40% more money across the board that you could make in the Apple ecosystem, including whatever they're going to do with Beats. Spotify is really good for the labels. The labels make so much money on their catalog. There's even label guys who are saying, we shouldn't even make new records. Screw it. Why would we waste our money on that? Because
right. This is a big deal, what you just said, because it was written up in Variety and all sorts of places.
And there's one other bit to this.
About just drop the musicians.
Yeah. And there's one other piece that all of the label heads all have stock in Spotify. Their entire mission is to hype this thing up. We're going to have a massive IPO, which will be another money-losing company that's going to go public. They're all going to sell into the IPO. They'll make out like bandits with billions of dollars. And, Spotify will kind of die off slowly, I believe. But the artists are being brought into the Apple fold. And here's what Apple's strategy is interesting. As I watch the keynote.
Let me stop you before you go to the strategy analysis. Don't most artists sign their life away to the labels and they can't do what you're describing?
Not every deal is standard. So yes, but it all depends on how many records you have to make, if you have a multi-album deal. But the idea is clearly to get the bigger artists who have more say and, are on different deals, and also just unknowns, like just anyone who wants to release something. It's going to be a better deal. The indies and the big guys. It's going to be a better deal, a much better deal for them. And the Spotify thing is just a huge hype, as I said, for all these guys to cash in and make.
All right, what's the Apple strategy? Go on. Sorry.
Okay, so outside of that, Apple is doing something. They're zigging to the cloud zag, and I like this. Their Spotlight is what I was really interested in. So I have Spotlight running on the MacBook Air that I produce the show on, and although not great, the improvements that they're putting in there are effectively bringing all search local. So instead of using a cloud system like Google, this is a direct assault on Google. They are so now Spotlight, which is Apple's local search system, but it's also an iOS for the iPhones and the iPads. It is now searching through your own stuff. It is going out there. They're indexing sites. You can use natural language query, and I'm pretty sure that if it's not happening already somewhere in the background, I think they're going to create a distributed search engine with all of their devices through their operating system. And I think it will kick Google's ass long term. And it's not in the cloud, and they really push the privacy aspect, the security aspect. It's your stuff. We don't sell it to people. Saying things like, why would we sell your information to somebody else? No, Apple doesn't have to do that. I think it's a very, very good strategy. Distributed search.
You're assuming it is a strategy based on your presumptions.
Yes, I think it's a strategy. Yeah, I think it's a strategy, and you will see Spotlight becoming it's going after Google with this, and it makes so much sense.
They want to go after. We know this for a fact. This is in their DNA.
Yeah, part of their sexuality. Sexuality is part of their DNA.
To hate Google because Google stole prematurely the iOS style of interface for phones. When the Android phone came out, I don't believe any Apple strategist, because that phone was a revolutionary new idea for smartphones, which have been around. Microsoft invented the smartphone, as far as I can tell. And they came with this revolutionary way of doing it while Eric Schmidt was on the board, so he knew all about it. And so he can give him a heads up over on the other side on his company and get him started on this, even though I guess Steve and all the rest of the people on the board had no idea that, Google does search engine. Why would they do a phone? That makes no sense. So let's tell them all about it.
Yep.
That had to be the thinking. And that gave Google way head start on everybody else, because they probably could start it right within the invention itself, which had to be 2005, 2006 timeframe. And they were just right on their tail almost immediately. Apple should have had another 2 or 3 years to itself to get more market share and to pretty much take over the smartphone game. But they didn't, because Google was, it's believed they cheated. They did. They took the idea. And so Apple was irked about that. Eric was fired, thrown off the board by Steve. And and he was irked. Everybody knows this. He was mad as hell and he wasn't going to take it anymore. And I think he pushed that concept right deep into the company. And so they're out to get Google, sure. So your theory makes sense from that perspective.
And I haven't heard this analysis anywhere else.
No, you won't. You couldn't hear it. What analysis is that?
Sorry. What am I thinking? And then
look at the size of the screen.
It's thinner.
It's thinner.
We can do native apps on the watch. I'm puking in my mouth, people. Get tech horny people. And then finally, tomorrow, despite the lawsuits, it has been 60 days since it was filed in the Federal Register. Net neutrality. The laws go into effect as of tomorrow.
No, I didn't.
Well, no, of course you didn't know that. You're not tech horny.
Weren't the tech reporters telling us this left and right?
No.
Amen. Fist bump.
The only good phone's a landline, and the phone should be made out of Bakelite.
Yes, the beaches are back open. Woohoo! I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. Shut up. In the morning.
We have people to thank. We have people to thank for show 729.
Press the flesh.
We want to thank them. We have a bunch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 4. Cole Callistra in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll put at the end. We need job karma for his wife, Melissa.
Okay.
Sir Jeff Yerke up the street, who I'm a partner with in a.
Is this the Red Fox thing?
The Red Fox Project.
You only have one partnership besides with me, and that's the Red Fox thing.
Red Fox Project. Let's get that straight.
RFP.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's over there in Concord. He's got a request for a thing. We can put it at the end. Okay. David Villieux.
He was so happy with how you pronounce his name, and not anymore.
I'm sure he's pleased as punch. Mm-hmm. David V. in Concord, California. Another one. That's a coincidence. There's your random number at work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same amount, same town. Unbelievable.
Huh.
Michael J. Bram. That's the way it works. Michael J. Bram. It would be better if there was 3. J. Bramble in Murray, Utah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have a note. He did write in. He sent a check. And what did he say? He says in the morning, he says he wants to know whether he's going to be killed by climate change or ISIL in America. So he's sitting and worrying.
I worry about these things too.
He wants a de-douching at the end of the show, at the end of the list.
Oh, shit, we'll do it right now.
You've been de-douched.
A little,
Aaron Murphy in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, $100. Andrew Brewer in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, $99.99. Christine Zachman in Lost Wages, Nevada, $88.88. You get that free stuff when you do those numbers. Michael Hernelstein in Chicago. He wants to, he says, longtime boner, first-time donor, Brad Bauer called me a douchebag twice.
Oh.
It's time to get him back. Please call Brad Bauer a douchebag. And there's a birthday. Do you see on the birthday list? June 11th, birthday?
Brad Bauer. I'll check. Hold on a second. No. No. Hold on. Brad Bauer. What?
42nd.
It's today?
No, June 11th.
Okay.
That is today.
And how old will he be?
He'll be 42.
42. That's the most important number in the universe.
Apparently he's a douchebag. I don't know how that works.
Well, all right. Shit happens.
What is this? The Gralian report, I think, in Fairview, North Carolina, 7777. Now, he's a fellow podcaster.
Yes.
Whoever Gralian is. Michael Voss in Evergreen, Colorado, 7556.
Now, he'll become a knight today.
Yes, he will be. Yeah, and you got a penny. He's up to $9.99.
Oh, he needs a penny?
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like a quarter.
Yeah, it does.
Read his note, just so, because he's going to be.
I had his note up, and now
I'd like to be knighted Sir Evergreen. Hopefully, Adam still has at least one penny left. I gave it to you. People, the 3333 subscription really does work. After a slow start, 18 consecutive 3333 payments via PayPal, and here I am. It's so easy that everyone should be doing it. All the cool kids are. Not only does Job Karma work, it also got us a brand spanking healthy new female human resource to boot.
You shouldn't be booting the little girl.
Good job.
18 consecutive 3333 payments via PayPal. Yeah, that is a very popular subscription. That's a year and a half, so you'd be a knight quickly. That's actually pretty quick.
That's good.
Sir Brian Williams, he's also J.M. Green of Hams. He's a 7373. Should have his call letters there. I don't. Gilles Pavot.
Gilles Pavot.
Gilles Pavot. Gilles Pavot. In Paris, France. One of the few French donors, listeners. It's like,
you should get out of France, man. If people find out about it, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, they. You know what? They're nonplussed. They don't care. Mm-hmm. Michael Shulver in Birmingham, West Midlands, UK, $71. Sir James Zukal in Los Angeles, California, $69.69. Sir James Cates in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Hello, Virginia, $69.69.
In honor of his sweet Lisa Lynn. Does she have a birthday, or is it just in honor of?
I think it's just an honor.
Yeah. Hey, baby, I donated $69.69. Get it?
Yeah, it's a hint.
Hey, say no more, baby.
Hint.
Uh-huh.
Get it?
Uh-huh.
Eric Olson, Water Valley, Mississippi. $69.69. He says, donations dropped after the $69.69 gimmick was dropped. I'm bringing it back. Well, good luck.
No, it's retired.
And we have quite a few of these. Jim Bickhouse in St. Louis, Missouri, $69.69. Also, Eric Sprangers in Amersfoort, Netherlands.
Amersfoort.
Amersfoort.
Eric Sprangers.
Eric Sprangers.
Amersfoort.
In Amersfoort. Henry Reese in Nagoya, Japan, also $69.69. What is up? Keith McColpin in Imperial, Pennsylvania, $68.84. I mean, it has meaning to him. Stephen Yarosh.
He says that's the Richard Quest donation.
$68.84?
Yeah.
This participation would have to donate this amount every time Adam has to bring up Richard's story on the show.
Oh, this amount totals the cost of a glass dildo, a rope, and rental of the movie Meth Head on Amazon.
Brother, we have the craziest business. Stephen,
it's a good number. I'm all for the $68.84, the Richard Quest donation.
Stefan Yarosh in Wakefield, Massachusetts, $66.66. Thomas Getz in Dortmund, Deutschland, where they make Dortmunder Kroner or Dortmunder pills. I don't know, one of them. Pills. Michael Olson in Austin, Texas, right down the street from you, 5555. Kaylin Nistor.
He's been listening since he was in elementary school, he says. How cool is that?
Wow. I hope, yeah, well,
nice.
It could have been. This is eight years. Kalen Nistor in Northville, Michigan, 55.10. Double nickels on the dime. That's the only one. Zachary Staley in Cincinnati, Ohio, 51.15. Gary Howell in Houston, Texas, 51.11. James Streck in Miamisburg, Ohio. I think, is that where the University of Miami is around there? 50.33. That was Streck. And then we have Christopher Barth in Karlsruhe, somewhere in Deutschland, 50.02. And then onward to, 50. Okay, this is another. Oh, never mind. Curtis Sarles in Bay City, Michigan, 50.01. David, it's Lumel or something. I don't. It's got
Limo
in Berlin. Nice, $50.01. He must apologize for his first donation. He says, I'm a listener to your show since episode 588. He finally donated. I got hit in the mouth by my brother-in-law, Fabian, douchebag number 1. Douchebag number 2 is his best friend, Chris. Douchebag. Who I successfully hit in the mouth, and neither have donated. Okay. Jasper Wall in Parts Unknown, $50. These are all going to be $50 donors. Place and location. Stephen Woolard in Victoria, BC, near Spuzzum. Andy Clements in Trim. Meath, Ireland. Meath, I guess. Richard Gardner, Parts Unknown. Sir Richard Gardner. Donald Adams, San Francisco, California. Christina Caldwell in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Move the cursor. Robert Drykosen in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Jason Brockman in Hamilton, Ohio. Antonio McMullen, Parts Unknown. He's also in for $50.
We have hold on. The Oshkosh is Robert. No. Yeah, he has a douchebag call out.
Oh, yeah. Right. We have a douchebag call out from Robert. And it says, douchebag call out to my cousin Jim. Douchebag. Okay, Jason Brockman in Hamilton, Ohio. Antonio McMullen, Parts Unknown. Paul Vella, Sir Paul Vella in Milton Keynes, UK. David Pete in Aubrey, Texas. Jan van der Laan in Assen.
Drenthe.
That's
Netherlands.
And that would be the end, yes. In fact, we don't even have any 49ers in here. That's weird.
Well, I want to thank everybody, of course, everyone who was on the monthly donations, and also, obviously, our associates and executive producers for today. Thank you all very much. This is what keeps the show going. It is the value for value proposition. Seems to at least keep us going for 8 years. Keep it on, keep it up, keep going. I'd like to give de-douching to everybody who deserves it.
You've been de-douched.
And the jobs,
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And a reminder that we will be doing a show on Sunday. I'll be rushing back from HamCom on Saturday, of course.
With ham news.
Oh, yeah. But maybe I'll get an exclusive interview with K1ZZ.
Yeah, he's Mr. Ham.
Yeah, that's right.
Dvorak.org/NA.
David Trotsky says happy birthday to his daughter Rissa Trotsky, turning 18 today, and his girlfriend Paulette Magnon, who celebrates today. Andrew Brewer, happy birthday to him today. Michael Hernelstein says happy birthday to Brad Bauer. Oh, there we go. He was on the list. 42 today. Eric Spranger's 43 on June 18th. Henry Reese will be Swazilnov's 69 on the 19th. And Stephen Willard also celebrating today. Happy birthday to all of you from the staff, management, and families from the best podcast in the universe. Then we have a correction. Sir Alan Bean. We said on 726 that he was a baronet. No, he is the Baron of Diamond District in Oakland. So making sure we make that correction. Today, Sir Otaku.
Could have taken all of Oakland. But we have another Oaklander that Benjamin Smith follows the show. He's going to probably have to take Fruitvale.
Sir Otaku becomes a baronet today. Sir Andrew Haverson becomes the baronet of Barkway, the rural road out there, which we're happy to have him Add that to his protectorate. And then we have one night today, Michael Voss. I'd like him to step up on the... Be careful. I'd like him to step up on the podium. And Sir Michael Voss for Sir Evergreen. Michael, thank you very much for your contribution in the amount of $1,000 or more, and we hereby are very happy to pronounceate you Sir Evergreen Knight of the Noah Agenda Roundtable. And for you, we have hookers and blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, raspberry pies and breakfast burritos, drams and DMT, root beer and Legos, malted barley and hops, Maker's Mark and mushrooms, Cuban cigars and single malt scotch, 3 geishas and a bucket of fried chicken, hot pants and booze, wenches and beer, geishas and sake, bong hits and bourbon, sparkling cider and escorts, and mutton and mead. I go to noagendanation.com/rings, and we've been getting more and more tweets of people showing their certificate, their sealing wax, and their hit him in the mouth signet ring, which is really pretty. It's really pretty. It's
and
nice
a lot of people are good photographers. They
are.
Present the documentation very well. It's got an angle. It's well lit.
Nice. Very nice. This was a little funny that I just picked up. We often talk about the scam that is Al Sharpton and his, was it the National Action Network?
Yeah, I guess.
You want to just briefly explain how that works?
Well, the idea is this was perfected. This has probably been perfected way before these guys, but the Rainbow Coalition from Jesse Jackson's was one of the better versions of it. Right. And I think it's probably still one of the best exemplifies the problem.
Yeah, best scam.
You go into a CEO, you first you target a company, and you have to find some company that's got, like, they don't have enough black people working there, let's say. Right. And you go and you meet with the CEO, and you say, we noticed a couple of things. One, you don't have a lot of black people working here, and there's a lot of people complaining about it. This is my version.
It's a problem.
A lot of people complaining about it, and it might cause some protests. We a lot of people in our organization want to protest and want to picket your place and want to point this out to you. And we noticed another thing that's kind of interesting. You've never donated to our operation, ever. There's no list. You're not listed anywhere. And I just
That's strange. I don't see your name on my call list.
And I just let you know that this is going on, and I'm trying to hold them back. I'll hold them back, and I'll keep this from happening.
But
you might want to think about donating, because that at least gives you something, some leverage. And they, oh shit, yeah, and they do a check for $10,000 or whatever it is, and then that keeps the operation going.
Right.
Now, I've heard stories that a bunch of companies have hired private investigators because they're not putting up with this crap, because it's extortion, but it's kind of legal. And there's stories where Jackson walks into a CEO's office and the guy shoves an envelope over to Jackson. I guess he's got pictures of his mistresses or something.
Here you go. Yeah.
And Jackson just gets up and leaves.
There was a black preacher on, I forget his name, but it'll be mentioned at the beginning of the clip, on Greta Van Susteren's show. She has the most peculiar mouth.
She had a lot of work done.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, no, she was a very outrageously not fit for television look. For Fox, and so she decided, and she knew days were numbered as she got older, so she had a lot of work done, and it was, I think it was just the shit crap job.
Yeah, certainly. There will be some bruising for 3 or 4 days. Really, it's not going to be that bad. So here she is, and this guy was, I like it. I like it when people come out and just call it the way it is, and particularly if they get exposure. Obviously, on Fox, it's much easier.
Pastor Marcus Mosiah Jarvis joins us. Good evening, sir. I read that you accused Reverend Sharpton of being a pimp.
Hold on.
Yes, that would be the case.
So what happened?
Well, they were holding a Stop the Violence rally in Hartford, Connecticut, and I guess his invite was supposed to bring some attention to the plight in the city of Hartford. But once the rally and the march was ended, there was a gathering at Shiloh Baptist Church, and there was a offering or a demand for money. And I thought that was hypocritical and contradictory to the cause. How are you going to ask a crime-riddled neighborhood that's impoverished for $100 each donation and without cause? They didn't say what the money was going to be used for. And so I thought it was pimpism at its best.
But resist we much. We must and we will much about that be committed.
pimpism at its best. Nice. Yeah. Nice. Another thing that happened that was really nice to see was, and only this kind of guy can do it, Jerry Seinfeld. You probably saw this.
I don't know if I have.
Oh, okay.
Is it driving around in cars with get coffee?
No. He was on, what is it, one of the Kimmel or no?
I have not seen it.
No.
Jerry Seinfeld thinks young people today are...
Sorry, that's not the clip. This is the clip I want. Here we go.
Comedy is, I do think, is supposed to push towards the lines in the medium. There are more people now who will let you know if they think you went over the line than ever before.
Don't I know it?
I mean, you have to feel the same way about comedy.
Yeah, but they keep moving the lines in for no reason.
Right.
I do this joke about the way people need to justify their cell phone. I need to have it with me because people are so important.
Right.
I said, well, they don't seem very important the way you scroll through them like a gay French king. Well...
That's very offensive to the gay French king.
Well, I did this line recently in front of an audience, and comedy's where you can kind of feel like an opinion. And they thought, what do you mean gay? What are you talking about gay? What are you saying gay? What are you doing? What do you mean? And I thought, are you kidding me? I mean, we can't even... I could imagine a time, and this is a serious thing, I can imagine a time when people say, well, that's offensive to suggest that a gay person moves their hands in a flourishing motion, and you now need to apologize. I mean, there's a creepy PC thing out there that really bothers me.
Yeah, it's called cultural Marxism. I'm happy he did that.
It's a good joke.
Yeah, well, especially
if you visualize a gay French king, it's just like it's one of those types of gags.
Yeah. It's more.
Yeah,
visual.
I can see people hiss. I'm surprised he didn't get hissed.
He can't even do college shows anymore. They're not.
Oh, he said, him and a lot of other comics have commented on this, that they can't do college shows.
I think I have
Bill Maher is the last guy that can do college shows.
Oh, yeah, because they're all in with him. Here, I think this is... I wasn't going to play it, but this mentions the college thing. This is from the Today Show, I believe.
Jerry Seinfeld thinks young people today are too politically correct for his comedy. He says this time there is something wrong with that. The former sitcom star is raising some controversy, calling out millennials.
Oh, controversy. Woo, calling out millennials. Controversy. Noodles, boy.
Not being able to laugh.
The 61-year-old comic legend said last week political correctness is running amok among young people.
I don't play colleges, but I hear a lot of people tell me don't go near colleges. They're so PC. They just want to use these words. That's racist. That's sexist. That's prejudice.
Seinfeld famously avoided vulgar and offensive humor, but he was criticized for the lack of diversity on his long-running TV show, as well as his web series Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, which featured no women and just one black comic during its first season.
There you go.
Seinfeld addressed that criticism in a CBS This Morning BuzzFeed Brews segment last year.
So wait, it's CBS News This Morning, BuzzFeed Brew? What the hell is that?
I have no idea.
Addressed that criticism in a CBS This Morning BuzzFeed Brews segment last year.
To me, it's anti-comedy. It's more about, PC nonsense than are you making us laugh or not?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he's saying that.
Well, he's, I'm sure a lot of comics feel the same way, although many of them, especially the ones that appeal to the millennials, get extremely raunchy in some other, you'd think, non-PC ways. He's always been a clean comic.
Yeah.
One of those guys who doesn't do booger and dick jokes. He doesn't say, fuck constantly.
Hickory dickory duck.
And, and he can't even, he gets everything he does. The guy does the stupid thing sad. With the comics and cars getting coffee, which is on Crackle, I think. You can get it on the Roku box if you dig around, which is quite funny.
It's funny. I like it. It's funny.
He gets a various vintage car and he goes driving around with some guy. Yeah. He's had Tina Fey on. He's had Hart, the black guy who's very funny, hilarious.
That's the only one black comedian. You're no good, Jerry Seinfeld. You're a bigot. You're a racist. You hate women. And in fact, that is not true. He always had hot girlfriends. Remember that
whole that show was based on him running through girlfriends.
Yeah.
And then finding some little thing.
Sexist pig.
that he couldn't stand, like the big hand girl and
the big hand girl,
toothbrusher, and the one who likes to sit around naked was one of my favorites. And then he decided to go around naked, and she told him not to. And
so while we're on the kind of cultural Marxism, which is pretty much stifling free speech.
Well, that's the idea.
Yeah, that is the idea. And we had another controversy erupt spontaneously over Reddit. Reddit now being run by Ellen Pao, who is the former Kleiner Perkins associate.
Who sued them.
And lost.
And lost big time.
She's now the CEO of Reddit. And they have decided to ban certain subreddits. And I have two quick clips. He was on NPR just so you can hear a little bit about what they're trying to do. It's it's all in the words, really. This is about harassment of people, and when a subreddit will be closed if under the following conditions.
The question is whether it would make them fear for their safety or the safety of those around them, or where it makes them feel like it's not a safe platform. So somebody expressing ideas that aren't consistent with everybody's views is something that we encourage. There are certain posts that do make people feel unsafe, that people feel threatened.
A post that makes me feel unsafe and threatened.
Or they feel that their family or friends or people near them are going to be unsafe. And those are the specific things that we are focused on today.
This is vague. I don't know what she's talking about.
Our site's goal to be a completely free speech platform. We want to be a safe platform, and we want to be a platform.
Well, let me just roll that back again. Just listen carefully to what she's saying here. Here we go.
Completely free speech.
A little more. I want to hear that whole sentence. Come on, Pao. Here we go.
Specific things that we are focused on today. It's not our site's goal to be a completely free speech platform.
It's not our site's goal to be a completely free speech platform.
We want to be a safe platform, and we want to be a platform that also protects privacy at the same time.
Okay. Now, I read the blog post and their rules, etc., and there's a very subtle difference. Instead of talking about, which it's interesting she said it here, about free speech, she talks about free expression. And this folds back into the yelling, like free speech is not free speech if it's unless it's an expression, which I think one day will go to the Supreme Court for some bizarre reason. So they talk about it being free expression, which is not the same as free speech. It's also free expression is not in the Constitution. Free speech is in the Constitution. And this, I think this is, people are, censorship. No, it's not censorship. They're not the government, none of that. But it is very telling as to where we're headed just in free speech by moving it over to free expression. And then she had that line at the end there about your privacy. Yeah, I want it all to be privacy. Oh, really, Ellen?
Predators, users, can be anonymous. Doesn't that mean that someone who's contributing harassing material, whom you speak with even, can keep doing it under a variety of pseudonyms?
We have ways of finding them, and we have ways of looking for repeat behavior, or
we have ways of making you talk.
Methods of coming to our site that can help us track down the anonymous users who may try to create fake accounts.
Well, how is that privacy? We have ways of tracking you down.
Of course, a follow-up question would have been, what about somebody using double VPNs?
We have ways of getting to Tor exit points. It's not a problem. We have ways of finding them.
Do whatever you're going to do. I'm not scum like you. You go to your daddy Satan anytime you want. I'll never join you. You understand that, filth?
And there it goes. Now, I have one clip left. I have a couple clips left, but I only have one important clip. And you didn't think it would get any worse, but I thought this was a great clip because it embodies two themes. It's a twofer.
Okay.
This is the FIFA It Gets Worse classic. I don't know if you've heard this before.
If you've heard about FIFA.
FIFA. Yeah. Advertising. I just said, wow.
Ready?
Yep, hit it.
Well, in the ongoing FIFA bribery scandal, former Vice President Jack Warner
has been accused of diverting funds intended for victims of Haiti's earthquake.
The 72-year-old is alleged to have diverted $750,000 in emergency funds that were donated by FIFA and the Korean Football Association for Haitian earthquake victims. According to a BBC report, Warner and several other FIFA officials have been charged with running a criminal enterprise.
Joe.
Isn't that great?
That's fantastic.
You didn't know that, did you?
No, of course not. Fantastic. Well, I don't think I can
Those
top.
guys are just rotten to the core.
Yeah, I don't think I can top that, John. Yeah, I think you got me on that one.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Yeah, we'll see what else comes out of that. I'm just scanning through the last things. Let's see. Tony Stark has filed to provide internet service from outer space. Yeah, you'll probably get the broadband subsidies for that.
Well, let me play one more clip then. All right, so I'm watching this, I think CBS or it's one of the networks. And there's this guy, the new correspondent, he's trying to make a name for himself. And he's doing this report. And so they throw it to him. He looks just like a skinny version of The Rock.
Okay.
The actor?
Yeah, The Rock. Yeah.
What's his name? I
can't think. Rock. But did that movie do anything? His earthquake movie?
I don't know. I haven't heard.
So. It's probably flopped.
And here he is. So he finishes off his little intro and mispronounces the absolute last word he's got to say here.
Investigators are following some 500 leads, including some new information, as you mentioned, that authorities are concerned those inmates may be headed towards Vermont. So tonight, officials are stepping up patrols, worried that these dangerous men are getting even more desperate.
I'm desperate, I tell you.
I'm desperate.
Desperate. Can I ask you, John, are you desperate? Yeah, that manhunt is...
I don't know why I make these sorts of clips. It's just ridicule.
Yeah.
We ridicule. That's what we do on the show.
We do that a lot, yeah. We do. We ridicule a lot.
It's not the theme of the show. It's just something we do.
Yeah, that whole manhunt thing is ridiculous.
Oh, I didn't even want to get into it, but that's...
Well, what they are doing is... And once again, citizens are all in. The cops, or actually it's the Department of Correction cops, they're walking around telling me, hey, can we search your house? And people are like, sure, okay, come on in. You can look at my house. Come on in.
Yeah, they should say no.
Yes, of course they should say no. But you know what you're going to get? Oh, you have something to hide? Oh, you got something to hide? Maybe we should have a car outside. Make sure that you got nothing to hide.
No, this is part of the problem with that. Yeah. And those guys are gone. They probably, they all think they're headed north because one of them has a relative in Buffalo. And I'm thinking these guys are smart enough to get out of that old prison.
Yeah.
Only people ever. They went straight down to Mississippi.
Or
they're not looking down there for them.
Or they'll be in one of those vacation houses and they can firebomb it like they did with that cop.
That one guy.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, burn him down. Kill him.
Yeah,
bomb him.
Just quickly, F Russia stuff. There are big anti-government protests in Ukraine, which is completely underreported. I didn't even have a clip. And interestingly enough, we don't see Victoria Noodleman out there handing out bagels or cookies or whatever she was doing the last time. So I'm pretty sure regime change is on its way for Poroshenko. We've been following that.
Part 2 of the story.
Part 2 of the story. Also, the president signed a continuation of the national emergency for the most dangerous country. We have a national emergency. Let me read.
Is that us?
No, hold on. Oops, I hit the wrong button here. Let me just see. He wrote it down. National continuation. On June 16th, Executive Order 34. Okay. The president declared a national emergency pursuant to the International Economic Powers Act to deal with the unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and foreign policy of the United States constituted to the actions and policies of certain members of the government of, I'm not going to tell you yet, and other persons to undermine the democratic process and institutions manifested in the fundamentally undemocratic March elections, 2006, to commit human rights abuse. I mean, this is a horrible, horrible, horrible country. Can you guess what the country is?
Scotland.
Belarus.
Belarus.
And the only reason
we won't say anything about Kazakhstan or whatever that one really bad country is over there because we were in bed with them.
The only reason for this is for Putin's pipeline.
Oh, right.
That's why Belarus is dangerous.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
yeah. I'm always on the lookout for Belarusians to come by and, throw rocks at the house.
And then, and this will be my last bit, continuing in your initial analysis of the macaroni and cheese, which, of course, is shepherds in the Second Great Depression.
Depression food.
Depression food. There was a mac and cheese festival. Yeah. Yeah.
Did they have bands?
Well, it was in Toronto, and headline, How Mac and Cheese Destroyed a Toronto Neighborhood. Yes. On Sunday, residents of the quiet Toronto neighborhood of Liberty Village woke up to an apocalyptic scene. Piles of trash were strewn about with an unsettling cheddary smell to the air.
Oh.
But Liberty Village wasn't looted, nor was it the site of an attack by some paramilitary dairymen. Instead, it was struck by Canadians' savage, insatiable craving for mac and cheese. So the problem started on Friday. They thought 5,000 people would show up, but apparently the depression is so large and so close upon us. 46,000 people showed up.
There you go. There's your viral invite.
And yes, the event brought together 23 chefs from across the city to pit their best mac and cheese dishes against one another to be judged by the public for a grand prize of $5,000. Apparently, the public was more than willing to do so. According to some reports, garbage, half-eaten remains of cheese and macaroni littered the streets. Vomit.
Yeah, well,
vomit everywhere.
Mac and cheese vomit, the worst.
Oh, there we go.
The mac and cheese life. Mac and cheese by Ayn Rand.
Is this a fact? Is mac and cheese vomit worse than any other type of vomit?
Think about it.
All right. I think we're done.
Okay, I think so too.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. That was fun. Thanks for that melodrama, John. Good work on that. I really appreciated that. It's good work.
Had to cut it down somehow.
Yeah, well, you rocking it. Okay, everybody. I'm off. I'll be making a beeline for Irving, Texas. Irving, Texas.
How far a drive is that?
Probably 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, 3.5 hours, I think. That'll kind of be it.
Well, Sunday's a good time to take a drive in Texas.
It's a great time to take a drive. Whew. Alrighty. You working on anything for Sunday that you know of? Anything special?
No, nothing, actually, that I can think of. I'm going to go watch television and find something to work on.
All right. Good. Coming to you from FEMA Region 6 here in the Crackpot Condo in downtown Austin, Tejas. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the fog has dissipated, leaving us with haze, I'm John C. Dvorak.
Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. We will be back on Sunday right here on No Agenda. Abbottabad. 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 Abbottabad.
And I studied the Civil War to an extreme. But Hitchens hated Clinton to such an extreme, and it's not in this clip because he is being cowed by Chris Matthews to such an extreme that Rand Paul does this to an extreme, which has been debunked to an extreme by universities and everybody in between. Well, unless somebody's hacked the passport to such an extreme.
You're not welcome when the Führers come to town. Gruppenführer is in town. You little scum do not come show it. It's done in secret. Project of Adolf Hitler. Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer.
Make it a great day. Enjoy.
Those who benefit society the most and who prove their superiority get to have more happiness.
Grüß Gott.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA.
Amen. Fist bump.